has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. This is my time, faster than ever, hungry and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. America couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for playoff racing action for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, as tonight it's the Triple M Pulling 200 here at Talladega for race number 2 of the Sweet 16 of the playoff racing action here for season 4. The pressure is on. Need a little bit of luck, and you better cross those fingers. It's Friday the 13th. We're here at the biggest wild card race of this round, and the drivers talked about it last week, concerned. Some were not sure how this race was going to go, but there's one driver of our 16 that already knows he's moving on to that of the Elite 8. That's going to be Keith Bradley, who has found himself into victory lane here at Super Speedways before. And he find himself there, or will it be his team effort to see if it will be Chris Cinnamon or Ted Wade making it on to that of the Elite 8. But giving us more coverage here on that of LSRTV, my name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is that of Kevin England, and also going to be a third person joining us, Wesley Outland. Kevin, starting things off, this is the time for these drivers, crunch time, Talladega, the middle of this round of the Sweet 16. These drivers, they've got to be perfect.
Yeah, it's like bowling. There's a split in this field. Half of them who are not in the championship race see this as an amazing opportunity to get themselves a victory on the season. And the others, they're fretting this split. They just need to see if they can get out of here clean with championship points, or can they find a way to score that elusive win, just like Chris Cinnamon did to get himself into the championship round. And what a racetrack to try it out here. Wesley, I look at these guys going around in practice, and it just looks to me as if, the excitement's high here. These guys are having a blast at this racetrack.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Kevin and Samuel. I mean, this is Talladega. This is a wild card. This is the wild card in the race, whether it's the real deal or whether it's here for the Triple M Pulling NASRA Truck Series. We're going to have a fun time here tonight. Of course, you know, Samuel, you're going to see probably the pack racing. You're going to see everybody in a draft. You're going to see friends become foes, foes become friends. For how long? Last lap, it's all bets are off. And then, of course, big one is always looming around the corner in this 80-lap feature.
Yeah, drivers are always going to be concerned about the big one striking, as currently the drivers have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left for practice. And these times these drivers are putting down, just trying to get a little bit more acclimated to super speedway racing. But this is the 4th super speedway of the season for these drivers that they're coming into. So they've got plenty of practice. Some, as you can tell, just having a little bit of fun, doing some burnouts and just trying to waste the time for themselves. But this is going to be a key, Kevin. Coming into this race, we've got a lot of heavy hitter drivers that are outside of our top 8 in points who need some good days. I mean, we look at the point standings. We've got that of Adam Newbert. He's down in 14th in points. You've also got Stephen Gregory, 13th in points. Last season's champion, Brady LaBeouf's 12th in points, as well as that of Robert Richards in 8th. A lot of strong contenders who need a strong day here at Talladega, but last week certainly was not their friend, especially for Ted Wade, a driver that luckily had big enough bonus points. He's still second in points, but he had internet issues. If he has another night like he did last week, he could find himself outside of the top 8 going into next week.
Yeah, Ted Wade took a massive hit, but Brady LaBeouf just had an awful race last week. And, a couple of these guys think somebody owes them something, and karma hopefully will change for them. I look at other drivers like Jacob Klinkart, who led the most laps last time we were here at Talladega, and I feel like some of these drivers come in with a little more confidence. Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not someone like LaBeouf can turn the season around and keep themselves in the championship hunt with a win here at Talladega.
They certainly are. And Wesley, I know it's been a while since you've been able to cover a NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series race, but how are you feeling able to come into the booth and watch one of the biggest races of these drivers for the playoffs?
Listen, NASRA, it is so amazing what they've been able to continue to do since like 2020 when they first started. Of course, they went into some growing pains and they had to make some changes, and there's new operations of people running things. But, one thing for certain, Samuel, this Triple M Pulling Truck Series is always entertaining every Friday night for iRacing on LSRTV. I try to catch the replays or look at the highlights when I can. And obviously, the guy that everybody's got a bullseye on has to be Keith Bradley. You look at the statistics leading up to these races here tonight at Talladega. He has won here numerous times. He's already got a win here in the playoffs. Of course, Cinnamon as well, as Kevin reiterated on. It's like I said, it's a wild card, and you just got to be able to play your cards right, be in the right place at the right time. And if you can do that, you're going to be the one that prevails here as the winner tonight at Talladega.
That's going to be the key. If you get a win and you're in the Sweet 16 playoffs, well, you will automatically get moved on to the next round, and that's what Keith Bradley did last week at Iowa. The question is, who is going to get it done here this evening as drivers are getting prepared 30 seconds before we get to qualifying? And Kevin, we've seen this before at super speedway races, open qualifying for these drivers. This is going to get intense for these 10 minutes we're being prepared for.
Yeah, open qualifying is one of those things where teammates are friends, and you have to assume that these drivers have talked, they have some sort of strategy, they know that there's going to be a way where they hang on to the back of a pack and be able to draw that draft and get themselves up front. But we all know it's kind of for bragging rights. Where you start at this type of racetrack is not as material as some other ones, but certainly, like anything else, and we always say, they want to win. So I'm sure there's some strategy going on and conversations going on here as they're getting ready to hit the racetrack.
One of the last drivers that we had a super speedway race at was the regular season finale at Daytona. And that was where Taylor Peacock found himself having that of the Blanchard Towing Pole Award. Who's going to get their pole award? Or will we see Ted Wade get another one notched on his belt? Ted Wade has been the dominant driver of getting these pole positions, but yet to get a pole at a super speedway race. That's going to be a key to watch out for. But Wesley, open qualifying, what are some of your thoughts and things you're expecting to see for these drivers? As it's not just solo, you're not by yourself, you've got everyone to work with.
Yeah, you've got multiple vehicles around here going on in Blanchard's Towing qualifying. You got to be able to put that best lap down. And honestly, Samuel and Kevin, you want to be up in the front. I honestly think if you're either going to have struggles in this qualifying session, you want to be in the back of the pack. Try to figure things out, make adjustments, work your way to the front. It's a long 200-mile, 80-lap race here around Talladega. But if you're a strong truck and you can get to the front, let's say the top 5, then you're going to be okay. If you're qualifying and you're mired mid-pack, the snake's patch is, as my friend Jimmy Spencer always calls it, then that's where calamity can happen. So you really want to have either a good run up in the top 5 or you want to be mired in the back to try to stay out of the middle of the pack where the storm can brew.
I'm talking about drivers that have had some good finishes at super speedways. We saw the 5 losing a little bit of ground, but here's some drivers that are going to be trying to work with one another. Been seeing them try to practice a lot. Going to see the 24 as well as going to be seeing that of Jacob Morris trying to work with one another. And this is a group that we've been trying to see how well can you get moving together, as these drivers all are going to be trying to find some speed. But Kevin, just having 2 trucks in line, this isn't the best setup if you're going to be going for the pole award.
Yeah, I think you want to be, to your point, in a big draft pack of trucks and be off the back of it. Come down the back straightaway, get that good run into turn number 3, lay the truck up in 3 and 4, and then again get a good run all the way down to the start-finish line, which is down to turn number 1. And one thing we note as you watch these trucks, they are buffeting in the wind. We know from running here earlier in the year that they're not steady and stable. They bounce all over the place. Drivers need to hold a pretty wheel in that corner, not scrub off the speed. And yeah, it's just one of those things where as they roll around here, they need to be clean with their lap. Just like you were on a single lap, Sam, you want to make sure you're not scrubbing the tires and scrubbing off speed.
Well, we were watching that of Morris as well as the 24 on his truck. Technically, our 88 of Zach Hartwick that were working with one another, but Peacock and Robert Richardson both came charging through. And with that run from the 81, that lap gives him the pole for now. 1,000th of a second over that of Robert Richards. Taylor Peacock trying to get a second pole at a super speedway track and looking good for himself. But leading the group, you're going to be the driver that's cutting into the air. You're not the one who's going to be taking the advantage of having the draft. Here's Richards, who's going to throw it to the outside, trying to maximize that speed as Peacock's going to be ducking onto the apron. That's free game. You can go down there, but you're losing speed, as we see there, Wesley.
Watching them work their way down the back straightaway now. Coming back out of turn 4 through the tri-oval. This is Devin Painter. And look at him on the inside of the Cookout Ford. Peacock right there at the top of the board, 51.927. And as Kevin reiterated on, Samuel, you've got that long tri-oval, just as the size of Daytona, except bigger. But the difference of Daytona and Talladega is the start-finish line is in the middle of the tri-oval. Well, not here at Talladega. The restart zone is in the middle of the tri-oval, and you can get a nice long 400-yard shot back to the start-finish line. And if you're lucky, you can try to make some daring moves to try to get the win. Obviously, the same can be said here as qualifying continues.
Yeah, and drivers going to try to maximize their speed any way possible. And for Devin Painter, he's going to be one of the drivers that's trying to find a little bit of speed for himself. Not the strongest during last week at Iowa, but this 64 has shown glimpses of some good speed and then gets caught up in a mess. And that's kind of been, I feel like, Kevin, the talking point for a lot of the drivers this season is they show some good speed, but a lot of these drivers have been struggling to get the finishes that they would like to get with showing off here at qualifying in the middle of the race.
Yeah, that's what makes these races the most interesting aspect, especially this fourth season for this group, because at any given week, someone shows up and just smacks them down and gets such a good run. There was times in this season where Devin Painter's been the fastest truck on the racetrack, and other times where he's been inconsistent, and we'll see somebody like Haney show up or Glencart show up as we see Lothian spinning down there to the bottom. So you never know. That's why we got to watch these races to see who's going to come in and make a good showing of it as these two come across the line. And you know, this is the fun part of open qualifying, is you get to see the different strategies these guys have in order to mix it up and see if they can pull down a fast speed.
Yeah, and also you're going to have drivers like this. Adam Cantwell going to sit down at the start of pit lane just waiting to see who's going to join up with him, what we call a pit party, where drivers all come together and try to take off as a group. As now you see Cantwell also going to be attached with that of the 43 of Dana Shepard and trying to work with one another. And also you saw there for on that front bar of the 43 for Dana Shepard. That yellow bar also going to be on the spoilers for these drivers. Going to be showing off if you have the yellow, you are part of the Sweet 16 playoffs, as we see here on Cantwell. Another one of those drivers trying to maximize the speed and also going through his H-pattern gears as we ride along with Adam Cantwell and get a sense of trying to get onto the track in a lap here at Talladega. Coming to the final 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And Wesley, this is something that we've been watching, are these drivers having driver camps here on LSRTV.
Yeah, just some of the awesome features that Charles Wooten, Mason Heimbach, Jeff Stabnow, everybody has done behind the scenes as they're moving into a decade of coverage with your home for sim racing to make the enhancement of the broadcast better for the viewers. And as you see there, you're watching him on the wheel, 10 and 2, if you will, or actually kind of like 9 and 3, if you will, working, trying to close in under Shepard's truck. Can't reel him in. He'll stay to the outside. He can't get the run on the bottom. And you better make the move quickly because you got 3 minutes left on the clock here in qualifying.
3 minutes left, and Kevin, this is when it kind of turns into a pressure cooker. Everyone's recognizing it's go time, and seeing this group right on the high line, I think it is a group they're recognizing, hey, let's just build up the speed, and then we'll drop down together at once.
Yeah, typically the long way around is the high side, and these drivers are doing that. They're running the RPMs all the way up to get max speed And then to your point, when they come down in the front, they'll drop down and run the short line. I noticed in that shot how much the wheel was moving, which shows that he has quite a bit of force feedback turned on. Every time he hits any of those bumps, the wheel is reacting to that, and he's got the opportunity to counter steer that. And you could just see how hard he was working to drive around what looks to us to be a relatively smooth racetrack. Now down here on the bottom, he's going to make some pretty quick speed, and we'll look and see where he slots in. Is Jose Luis Rivera right now has the provisional pole.
Jose Luis Rivera, part of this group that we're watching. They're going to go 4 wide through that group, and watch out. They're going to be bumping and banging. There goes Newbert. He's going to be taking out Cinnamon and others. They're going to collide. The big wreck happens, but now they continue to race on, and these drivers get a little bit of a chuckle, but these 5-6 drivers that survived that carnage, they're still in a hot lap. They're going to maximize their speed. Until then, Scooby-Doo wiping out the crew, and it's going to be Campbell sneaking his way past, but no draft help. Wesley, this is going to be hurting the 63.
And this is only going on in qualifying. We just knotted up and wadded up about a dozen trucks or more. The only one lucky to lick his chops and move away is Cantwell in the 63. As you see, the Valvoline 24 now working his way to start finish. You got less than 80 seconds remaining to put down a good run. And here's the deal. If you wreck Samuel in qualifying, the caution doesn't come out. We still continue on, and you still race against the clock.
Yeah, the clock continues to ride on, and it kind of is an advantage and disadvantage at times because you can reset, you can put as many laps down as you want. And some drivers have put down 10 different laps. That's for Jose Luis Rivera. He's done 10 laps for himself. Adam Newbert's done 10 laps. Other drivers have only done 3, like Trey Pitts that we're seeing for the 27, following that of Robert Richards. Just, you know, some drivers picking and choosing when is it time to put down these fast laps. And for this group of Robert Richards as well as Trey Pitts, this is their final lap. There's not enough time for them to finish this lap and go again. This is the final 30 seconds. Who's going to beat Jose Luis Rivera's time of 51.295? Robert Richards, that of Trey Pitts. They're going to do their best. A little bit of smoke ahead of them of drivers have had issues before, but coming through the tri-oval. That start-finish line isn't here yet. It's after the tri-oval across the line. We'll see if they can best their times. Always look at the ticker. Who's going to be swapping up and down? Nothing's going to change for that of Robert Richards and Trey Pitts. Not advancing, not a better time. But that board, we're going to continue to watch for these final 3 seconds. Who else can put a faster time down? And as these drivers seen qualifying coming to a close, these are the last 2 drivers on track. Do want to give a little bit of a real-life weather report, not on the virtual side of things, but where LSRTV Studios is located, having a little bit of storm issues currently. Hail is attacking our buildings, so we could be seeing any issues that pop up visually on the stream side. Just know that is what is going on. We hope that the stream will hold up. We'll continue to try to give the coverage here on LSR TV. 35 seconds left for anyone that's still out on track. No one else is. So right now, Jose Luis Rivera in the 97 machine. Going to be getting his Blanchard Towing Pull Award. Going to be giving us another different driver. Each time we've gone to a super speedway, it's been a different driver getting that pull award. Congratulations to the 97. But Kevin, this has been one of those things where you come to a super speedway, yes, you qualified higher up, but that doesn't mean that you're in the best position to win.
Yeah, for sure. But I do like what Wesley said before. If you have the truck and you can stay out front and avoid all the trouble behind you, that's a good place to put yourself in. And good job. Pat on the back for Jose Luis Rivera, Jacob Klinkart, Taylor Peacock. They are mission accomplished here for this qualifying session. And at this point, we'll rack them and stack them and get ready to go. They're going to roll new trucks off the trailer for the virtual ones that got destroyed in that. And we're going to set the grid here for you in a second and get ready for 80 laps of action at Talladega.
Well, you said it. They get a new truck, but this is now the only one. No fast repairs here tonight for row number 1, getting their Blanchard Towing Pull Award. It's Jose Luis Rivera in the 97 getting that first place. To his outside, going to be Jacob Klinkart, who knows how to get wins here at Super Speedways. We'll see if we can get it done here this evening. Taylor Peacock going to be back in row number 2 with Chris Cinnamon, our last Super Speedway winner, going to be back there as well for that 3 machine. Row number 3 going to find us with the driver that's won the most Super Speedways this season with 2. It's going to be that of Keith Bradley already locked in for the round of 8 with Robert Richards to his outside. Row number 4, giving us the driver who's been Mr. Consistent, Ted Wade. Last week his internet failed him. We'll see if it holds up here tonight with that of Blake Lothian in the 59 to his outside. And finishing out our top 10 for row number 5, it's Dana Shepard as well as Adam Newbert.
Row number 6, Stephen Thomas on the inside, and the 23 to his outside, Justin Lumpkin in the number 87 starts 12th. 13th starting spot for Friday the 13th, that's Adam Kentwell in this 63. 47, James Morris is in the 14th starting spot outside row 7. Row 8 is the 88 of Zach Hardwick, and to his outside, Huck Wigington looking for a good run here tonight in the 00. Row number 9, 64 of Devin Painter, and to his outside, 18th starting spot for the 11 of Derek Kilgore. Row 10, it'll be Trey Pitts in the number 27, and to his outside, it'll be Tyler Dittmer in the 34 starting 20th.
Then in row number 11, it's going to be that of Brandon Bullock as well as Joe Doucette for the 16. Last couple of rows going to be Michael McKinnon, who hasn't been here for the last couple of weeks. We'll see how McKinnon's going to run here with Ed Osborne in the 42. And finishing shotgun on the field, it's Cody Knott in the 26. As we drivers get rolling, Wesley, qualifying's done. We're getting ready for 80 laps, but what these drivers are also dealing with are 2 stages, lap 15 and lap 30. What are you expecting for these first 15 laps for these drivers before we get to our Sim Racer Hub stage break for stage number 1?
Well, obviously, you want to be smart in your first stage. Obviously, stage points are on the line. You want to be not aggressive your first 15 laps. I think this is the ride and drive session. Now, will there be some butterflies and some hiccups and mistakes possibly made? Maybe, but if you're a smart on the racetrack right now, you want to just get this first 15 laps out of the way. Stage 2 to stage 3, all the way to this 80-lap feature, that's when I think the aggression, the peg level will go up. But at the moment, get out here, fill your truck out, see what you can do, run the top, run the bottom, see what you can do in a pack, who your friends are, who your foes are, and then get ready to get through stage 1, and then give it all you got, final 2 stages to lap 80.
And Kevin, what are you expecting also to be seen here tonight before we get rolling here?
I think they can't help themselves. I have a feeling they're going to be elbows up right from the beginning. And, yeah, we're going to be in for one whale of a race here at Talladega.
It's going to be a good one. Let's take a look at what our keys of the race are going to be. Top number 1, keep your truck clean. It's super speedway racing. You got to keep the aerodynamics there. Don't lose the draft. It's very easy if you make any shuffling. You're not staying stable and consistent with the drivers ahead of you, and avoid the big one. That is also going to be the biggest one in the middle here that we always circle. But then once we get into a green flag racing, after stage 1 and stage 2 are done, don't make mistakes on pit road for number 5, as well as don't pit alone. Those are 2 big keys of after we get into our 3rd stage, race it to the end. Don't make any of those mistakes. But the pace truck's getting ready to pull off. We're getting ready to go racing. The teammates in line up front, that of Jose Luis Rivera, Jacob Klinkhart, going to be side by side for this first row. They're hoping to find themselves into victory lane. Most likely, Jose Luis Rivera is going to be the one who's going to try to get the win. So then that of Klinkhart can point his way into the next round. But this is only race number 2 of 3 for that of the Sweet 16 playoff racing action here for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And we're green for the Triple M Pulling 200 here at Talladega as the drivers roar down into turn number 1.
Coming up through the gears, going into the banking for the first time. Turn number 1, bottom line is organized. They're all head to toe. The top line's broken up just a little bit. They roar off of turn 2 to the back straightaway. Field is broken up through the middle, Wesley.
Field hits the back straightaway. Obviously, it'll take a lap or 2 before these trucks come to full song. Right now, 2 by 2. Rivera Klinkhart alongside. Peacock Lothian is there. They dive into that 3rd turn. Everybody for the cold moment, right breaking out of line, being patient as they work to 3 and 4.
Top 11 all going to be in part of this first pack and group. A lot of shuffling from 12th all the way back to 25th of drivers trying to get themselves in line, set up with teammates, and just be patient in the early going. But for the drivers that are trying to get up front, our top 11, only 10 of these drivers will get stage bonus points at lap 15. So it's all about getting up front, be aggressive, and lap 1 going to that of Jacob Klinkhart. But now he's trying to drop down low. He's got to hope that those drivers behind him can get it rolling, because here comes Lothian on the outside.
Lothian to the outside with the Adam Newbert, number 4, pushing him hard off of turn number 2. Lothian gets ahead, so does Newbert. And the two of them have driven out to a commanding lead on the back straightaway. They're pulling Justin Lumpkin with them. Three of them have cleared that fourth place truck. And they're going to drop down low here and keep on the action over here in 3 and 4.
Working their way to turn number 3 and 4 now. They start bobbing and weaving like boxers inside of a squared circle here in Talladega. Now a new lead change. Third of the night. Here comes now Newbert. You're on board with Clinkhart. That's the truck behind the leader as those go at it, working through the triangle. This stays to the inside. No one jumping out of line. Newbert to the point at the flag stand.
And right now, Adam Newbert going to lead this lap. And Newbert, this is a big thing for himself. Not going to be qualifying all the way back in last place like he's been doing for most of this time. And here comes the outer groove. Going to be seeing that of the 5. Going to hold on, but he's going to get a good vision of that of Jose Luis Rivera, rocking a different scheme. He's usually the 97, could be the 20 here this evening, but why not go 3 wide here? Right on the back stretch down into turn number 3. It's all on the line, but watch out, Kevin, it's the favorites. It's Cinnamon, that of Bradley, and as well that of Ted Wade, all working together.
Super wide racetrack here allows you to run 3 wide. That high line does move, and the 3 teammates teamed up in those multicolored trucks to the high side, trying to see if they can come back here, and they've got enough momentum that they're challenging for the lead. In fact, it is going to be Chris Cinnamon leading that lap as now the inside lane fades, and the second line is coming through.
Here's Ted Wade on board, Wesley.
Yeah, watching Wade there, I'm sorry there, Samuel. He was getting really, really loose. And if you look in front of him, those trucks are 3 by 3 by 3 going to the back straightaway.
3 by 3, and they continue on with this pressure. But like we noted on, it is going to be very quick to the stage break. That is only on lap 15. We're on lap 4 already, closing in each and every lap. And you want to make sure you're up inside of the top 10. That's when you get those bonus points. You win, you get 10 points. If you're 10th, you get 1 point. And if you're outside of the top 10, 0 bonus points go to yourself, as there's still 3 wide for the lead going through the tri-oval.
I think I called that one right. They were going to be wide open from the beginning. 3 wide as they cross the stripe. That time it's going to be Jacob Clinkhart. Scored 3, 4, and 5. Number trucks have led so far here as they roll through the banking over there to the back straightaway. It seems like some of those back marker trucks have joined this lead group and have a pretty big pack heading down the back straightaway.
3 by 3 by 3, as Kevin and Samuel said, in the first 4 rows. Then they're 2 by 2 till you get down to the inside lane of those 15 trucks in this pack. Furthermore, Cinnamon shoots the gap. He goes to the outside lane. Newbert, Clinkhart on the bottom. They'll now power to the way out of turn 4 to the lead.
Little bit of, I think, just unsettledness. They felt that it was about to get a little bit too chaotic. Let's back off. Let's not get into trouble. Again, reminder to the audience, these drivers are going 3 wide. There's plenty of space to do that. But at the same time, Kevin, they don't have any fast repairs. There's no safety net. If you get caught up in a wreck, you're most likely going to be done for the night.
The drivers will be a little bit careful right here. They're going to leave a little space in front of them. They're watching 2, 3 trucks ahead of them as we get closer on in this race. I expect the rubber band to get tightened a little bit closer to the bumpers, and we see drivers uncomfortable most times, especially driving in the middle. Now they finally settled down to a more comfortable 2 by 2.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Kevin, and we're watching now on 3 different camera angles all of this wild racing that's going on. Pick your poison, if you will. At full screen, the pack coming at you still 2 by 2, like Noah leading the Adam virtual arc here in Talladega. Wow. Newbert under attack. He's got a truck up on his backside on the back. Then he's got him side by side beside him on the outside lane. He's really boxed in from 5th on back. Nowhere to go, Samuel, as they cross the line and put lap 5 on board.
Yeah, watching these drivers as going to be on our bottom, bottom right. That's going to be our onboard with the 97 of Jose Luis Rivera, as you saw Lothian get out of shape and pushed back on the outer lane. And then on your top right is with Robert Richards that we're riding on board with that 48. So all different cameras we're going to see is our main camera capturing all the drivers. This main group that we're watching, this group going to be finding themselves, I believe this is actually going to be our top 18, 19 that are all still connected to this lead pack. But Jose Luis Rivera gets dumped. He's got no help in that third lane.
He got shuffled off the Buffalo to the outside here. You see a lot of these drivers, especially the veterans, get comfortable down on the bottom. They know that yellow line is their friend. You can't pass underneath it. And you just have to kind of follow that yellow line and pace yourself as you get the runs up to the truck in front of you. Snip a little bit of a draft, Wesley. And towards the end of the backstretch, especially, you have to ease out of the throttle, but that also saves you a little bit of gas.
Yeah, Kevin, I think you're right. You got to be patient, and you got to also conserve tires and fuel in the bacon as well. But again, you got a horse patch around you. Everyone clawing, fighting for position in the early going.
No.
This is not what I was expecting. We got trouble in turn number 3.
Morris Pittman all spinning to the yellow flag, finally waves, but that was right in the thick of things where it looked like Jose Luis Rivera, Clint Hart, they were trying to make some bold moves, and those bold moves have ended the nights for some of these drivers.
Popper replay comes up, and you can see trouble right there, right in the middle of the pack. Maybe a bump draft going wrong, and unfortunately, once one truck turns sideways, there's just no way to recover it. Watch the 47 in this action as they go down the straightaway, and we saw a lot of trucks wiggling, bouncing, banging down there, and you see pits going around. Lothian got tagged there, and the 17 unfortunately just can't get on the binders. He comes in, gets a piece of that. Wesley, that's a pretty good size melee over there.
Yeah, but that's the ingredient of a little bit of ignition. Somebody bobbed when they should have zigged or zagged, and then obviously, where do you go from there? It's the typical big one, but I wouldn't call this the big one yet, Samuel. But several trucks involved. You see 87, topsy-turvy, could have gotten sideways on his lid. He holds on. Everyone else settles down after that incident ensued in turn number 3. A little aggressive here in stage number 1 for the first yellow flag of the evening.
Yeah, we go back to live coverage of drivers now going to give the opportunity. Do they want to come into pit road or not? Expecting the majority of our top at least 6 to stay out, but from 7th on back, might be thinking about let's just come in, get repairs, and that's to be led by that of Tyler Dittmer, and Dittmer's been very consistent for that 34, but already coming into pit road immediately is going to be that of James Morrison, the 47 that we saw slam into the outside wall, and the one driver who got what we call the meatball flag. It's a black flag with an orange circle, meaning you have required damage. Trey Pitts had to take the tow into pit road. The 27 blown engine. He'll be in there for quite a long time, but over that of 12 drivers all involved and coming into pit road for repairs.
Yeah, this time bias. The pit's open. You see Lothian is in there. Hartwick, Kilgore, Dittmer, Cody Knott taking the advantage of it. Brandon Bullock had a piece of that. We saw the 17 slide in. Looks like about almost half the field here, Wesley, going in to get some service.
Yeah, you know, besides the trucks that just got caught up in that accident in turn number 3 on lap number 8, if you will, and I really don't see anybody in the front runners like Cinnamon, Newbert, or more that are going to come down to the pit lane and take on service until we get to the end of stage number 1. And remember, that yellow flag, as Samuel talked about, is going to come out on lap number 15 in stage 1. And I really think, for the most part, Samuel, everybody's just playing possum right now. Staying on the racetrack, it's all about position. It's all about stage points. And they know in about 5 more laps, this race will, of course, get another yellow flag.
Yeah, we're going to be getting back to green flag racing here quite quickly. iRacing's done an update where it's no longer on intermediate courses or short tracks. Usually the pacing is 5 laps. That's how long it's going to take for you to come in, get service done, give them out time for drivers that are a lap down, to do a wave around, also for them to come to pit road. But for these super speedways, iRacing is deemed if there's no one a lap down, we'll just make it 3 laps of pacing, so you can come into pit road, get service done, and get back to racing quickly. Other times it's just 4 laps, so we're expected to see these lights come off once they come across the line this go. But this also puts us in the window of, if we get a yellow before lap 15 when we go green, that will conclude the stage here for these drivers. So the pressure is on. You've got to climb immediately on this restart, which, Kevin, means we're going to get probably right back to 3 wide racing right when we drop this green flag.
Yeah, you could almost bet on it. Put the card on the table and call that one. I was looking at a couple of these guys that actually got a get out of jail free card. Taylor Peacock was off the back of that pack when that incident occurred. Same with Zach Hardwick. He pitted just for service, I believe. I didn't see any contact for him. Doucette was back there, and Osborne was back there. So was Michael McKinnon, who was way off the pack. Now he's going to be able to rejoin in things. Some of these guys play that strategy where they just wait for the attrition and then come up and race. And, well, 4 of them there got pretty lucky. They just drove through that in a nice leisurely stroll.
You know, Samuel and Kevin, obviously, as you said, Samuel, lights are going to go off on the pace truck here. We're going to get 1 to go. We're going to go back to green flag. So there's going to be some more green flag racing here before the end of stage number 1. But I think maybe this accident might make these guys kind of think back and say, okay, maybe we don't need to tear these trucks up so early in this race. The bigger pit at the end, Samuel. But again, as I said, that might go out the window when we drop the green flag. But if it was me and I was on the spotter box or on the crew war wagon right now, I'd be telling my guys, listen, you got a long race. You still got 70 laps to go. Don't get caught up in a situation where we're going to be literally fighting to be back in the end. You got to be there at the end. The first race, you must first finish. And I think that that accident was kind of uncalled for, but hopefully we'll strap back in and get ready to end stage 1 with no calamity.
Yeah, I mean, you threw it out there. We can also look at the keys of the race. Like we said, top thing, keep your truck clean. And already with our first caution, there's a lot of drivers with damage. And Kevin, as we're looking at our keys of victory here tonight, I mean, already seen drivers mistaken on that first step.
Yeah, and unfortunately for these guys, when they get damaged and they take a hit and the truck loses RPM and loses speed, does not have the same motor power under the hood, they're just not going to be competitive. Now, a couple of these drivers went in, got their stuff fixed. The good news about this 2.66 mile oval for some of them is it leaves a lot of time for the crew to beat and bang on these trucks. If you can get the front end kind of straightened out and stay in the draft, well, maybe you can stay with them. You're not going to lead perhaps, but my sense is you can be competitive, and I agree with the sentiment. Now that we've had an incident, I suspect there'll be a little more, how do you say it, careful, if you will.
Absolutely getting careful and ready to go for these drivers as we are on lap 11 of 80, but the drivers, we're not racing to 80 just yet. That is the end goal, but we're first racing to lap 15. That is when we'll have our stage break. That stage break sponsored by Sim Racer Hub. On lap 15, top 10 get bonus points. But who's going to survive? Right now, Chris Cinnamon, Adam Newbert, Keith Bradley, then Robert Richards, Ted Wade, Jacob Klinkhardt, our top 3 rows all ready to get rolling, and we're green once again for the Triple M Pulling 200. And it's the teammates in line as we head down into turn number 1.
Drivers come up through the gears here as they roll through the banking in turns 1 and 2. The teammates loaned up nose to tail. They've got control of this race, but here comes Richards pushing Newbert to the outside. They've got a good run to the high side. Big wiggle by the 48. Going to collect it up. They've got a head of steam to the outside.
They go right back to the whip again. Teammates on the bottom of the racetrack with Cinnamon, Bradley, and Wade. It's like a law firm to the inside. Up top side is going to be Newbert. He'll pull up in front of the machine of Cinnamon and throw the block side out of turn number. They come back off turn 4. Everyone working, bobbing, weaving through the tri-oval. Teammates now still holding fashion line. Samuel back to the tri-oval to the start finish line.
And right now, when you're on that inside lane, you're working with one another, you're just trusting that the drivers that ever come down in front of you, they're going to make the mistake and try to make a pass or a big move and lose the momentum. And you see down into turn number 1, it's going to be Chris Cinnamon. This is kind of giving a little bit of deja vu, you could say there, Kevin, of Daytona on Chris Cinnamon, just getting all the help in the world from his teammates to push this 3 and keeping him up front.
Yeah, mission accomplished last time when we were here. They helped the Cinnamon and got himself a win, and I don't know if they're going to be that friendly here, but I think what we really see is everybody notices these 3 trucks lined up on the inside, and they want to break up the party. These drivers to the outside getting organized, and when the 4 drops down, it's not to abandon his teammates, it's to try and block the run of the inside line and let the other drivers come up. As soon as they got to his tailgate, he was able to pull up Wesley and cover that, but right now the outside lane is struggling to keep up with these 3 guys who are drafting really well at the bottom.
Yeah, those teammates right there on the line down to the inside of the racetrack, and they've got that forward momentum with Cinnamon leading the cavalry off of turn number 2 with the conga line. The outside lane still has other competitors trying to make the move, but those teammates stay right there locked on the inside. 1, 2, and 3 on the Talladega Super Stretch. Going to turn number 3. And now once Cinnamon get loose, they're going to turn 3, Samuel.
Just the wrong bump at the wrong time. Going down into turn number 1. It's going to be Bradley tapping the rear quarter panel. That could have been way worse, but luckily the 3 doesn't hit the wall. Continues to race on. We stay green, but it's going to be now the race is on. Jose Luis Rivera, Newbert, more contact for the leaders, and they come back across the line. The teammates wiping each other out. Peacock and more. It's a scrapyard. Yellow flag waves, and that's stage number 1 done. in a melee coming to the line.
Yeah, I would again say about half the trucks got a piece of that. As you know, who the biggest benefit was is Chris Cinnamon. He got slid off the track over there on the backstretch, and it is a lucky horseshoe for Cinnamon. He comes back to the start-finish line, can't believe his eyes. Truck spinning, crashing, sliding through the grass, and he just rolled through and coasted in.
Hey, Kevin, if anything, Cinnamon's lucky what he had happen to him just a moment ago down at the bottom of turn 3. He got down to the bottom of the apron, saved the truck, got back up on the racetrack, and remember what I said? He was out of the line of fire, and then all of a sudden, Samuel, they worked through the triangle, coming to the final lap in stage number 1. Well, they might have thought this was the last lap, and all hell broke loose going through turn 4, and then they're just slamming and crashing into one another.
There's Cantwell that we're right on board with, just getting pushed around, hard contact to the rear bumper, and other drivers able to split the 63. Well, there's a lot of drivers that are going to be coming into pit road, extended time into pit road. But I think the biggest surprise, Kevin, with all the slamming in action we saw that brought out this yellow that's going to conclude our stage break, which our top 10 drivers going to be that of Robert Richards, as well as Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, Jose Luis Rivera, Stephen Thomas, Jacob Klinkhart, Devin Painter, Adam Newbert, Michael McKinnon, and Dana Shepard. Those 10 drivers all getting bonus points here, but no one getting the required damage flag. They didn't get the meatball flag, but expecting a lot of drivers to be in pit road for at least a minute or more. But luckily, we're here at Talladega, the 2.66 mile of a course. It allows them to have that time.
Yeah, the good news for a lot of drivers in that incident in particular is when they made the contact, a lot of them just kept their momentum and all slid together as one big mass down through the tri-oval, through the grass. Nobody really took some big, massive hits that tends to do the damage. And now we see 4 tires and fuel, the common package down there, as Richards down and away. And you have to imagine that there's quite a few hammers, Wesley, going on. Some of these fenders, bumpers, back quarter panels and such, as a lot of trucks taking hits so far in this race.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Kevin England. There's definitely a lot of free estimates in the repair shop going on the midsection of pit lane for a lot of drivers taking advantage of that time clock to try to get whatever repairs made and needed. But here's the elephant in the room, Samuel and Kevin, we're not talking about. What about the teammates? Do you think something is being said on the radio with Cinnamon, Wade, and Bradley about, why did you bump me? What was the reason of doing that to me in the corner in turn number 3? Samuel, that could have been a lot worse than it turned out to be for Cinnamon in that number 3.
Yeah, the big thing there, I think, is just a little bit of a miscue coming close. I mean, a lot of bumping and shoving was going on the straightaway, and I think just the small little minute of a movement can certainly get these drivers unsettled and have kind of showing the quarter panel instead of being straight on square, bumping the driver ahead of you. Also with the iRacing, you know, the way that iRacing has scanned these trucks, the front bumper and the rear bumper actually do not match. None of these manufacturer trucks match up properly. You are giving a lot of trust just to bump somebody. At any moment, just one small little tap, a little left, a little right, can get someone out of shape. So it certainly is a trusting game. The teammates trusted one another, but I think that I'm expecting still for them to bump draft. They might be a little bit more cautious going into the second stage.
Yeah, as a driver, you know, depending on which vehicle you're running in the sim, how it behaves. Can you beat the bumper off, or can you tap it? Do you need to hit the right side? You know, in some of these vehicles, in the truck, for example, you want to hit the right side of the back bumper, but not the left side, especially in the corner. It'll just turn them around. I think really the bigger problem we have here is just how much these trucks are moving around in the draft. We only have a 3-mile-an-hour wind here, so it's not like the wind is blowing and causing havoc, but you could just see from some of the camera shots, truck moving left, right. You square up, go to hit the truck in front of you, and just when you want to hit it, it gets a big wiggle and you send it packing. I think that's a little bit of what we saw over here in the tri-oval a moment ago.
Well, here's the thing, Samuel, as you mentioned, obviously they have the opportunity for the NASRA officials to call for a restart fast. So what, we only had under 3 laps under caution since that caution came out there with 1 lap to go in stage 1. Everybody's made whatever repairs they need to make on the pit lane. The lights are off of that pace truck, and we're getting ready to go for stage 2 coming up here.
Yeah, stage 2 for these drivers getting ready. I do want to give note of some drivers still in pit road. Trey Pitts has called it a night. He is already done. Going to be our first official DNF of the night. Blake Lothian in the 59 and 23rd currently. He's going to be still in pit road getting service done. Adam Cantwell and Jacob Klinkart still in pit road. Drivers that were involved in pit road for extended stay. Stephen Thomas in 12th. He was in for over a minute on repairs. Same goes to Dana Shepard, as well as Jose Luis Rivera, Adam Newbert, both in pit road for over 2 minutes. So a lot of time for them to try to get repairs for themselves. And also James Morris back out on track, but currently 4 laps down. He's at 47. The field is getting stacked, getting ready to go. And that of Michael McKinnon, who's missed the last couple of weeks, the 13, because he came into pit road under our first caution of the night. He actually got fuel. He's actually just going to stay out here, expecting he's got enough fuel to make it to the end of this second stage, which will be at lap 30 for these drivers. Kevin, this certainly is going to be a different strategy for the 13, who's just going for track position over security.
Yeah, we've talked about all the carnage, and the 13 is sitting pretty right now. He was one of those trucks hanging off the back, and now he's going to start from the pole position here as stage 2 gets underway. Updating Klinkart, he got his damage fixed as much as they could. That truck joins in. He'll be tail end of the pack here as the pace truck leaves and turns the field over to the number 13 of Michael McKinnon.
As you see, some drivers going to be still showing off their cameras. This is going to be Cody Knott in the 26, going to be starting at 7th. Giving us his point of view on this restart as we are green for stage number 2 for the Triple M Pulling 200 here at Talladega for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. It's playoff racing action here tonight, and there's still bonus points to be grabbed. Lap 30 is when stage 2 comes to a conclusion.
Truck single file out as you see Cody is off a car length or 2 off the truck, just trying to come up through speed here. He'll start to pick up a little bit of a draft. The truck will tuck in tight. And now I see what he's doing is just pulling down. Yeah, he's just going to play it safe and let everybody go by, get packed up. He'll join out in the back here and live another day.
Yeah, not even trying to even be in the catbird seat, if you will, as there goes another Valvoline truck being bypassed up on the outside lane. Meanwhile, Richards hugs the inside of the racetrack below the line. At yellow, Lumpkin, Painter, Dittmer, Hart, all right there in that move. Obviously, Samuel, as we work into stage number 2, it's going to get a lot more aggressive as we approach halfway. And, of course, coming up on 60 remaining in a few more laps. They're back to turn 1.
Yeah, these drivers going to be racing as hard as they can, trying to make sure that they are up front, especially watching out for the colorful teammates of Cinnamon that going to be seeing Cinnamon as well as Bradley and also Ted Wade. They're back to the same lineup that they were in before as the 13 goes low and going to be getting a little bit of positioning. But, I mean, Kevin, they're not too scared, I think, for Chris Cinnamon, recognizing, you know what, it was just a bad bump. Let's get back to where we were at. Let's get back up front and do what we were just doing before.
Yeah, you just got to shake that off. And one of the things I note from the shot is look at all the yellow spoilers. You could tell the drivers who really want to win one of these things in this second round. You know, they're going to go to Kansas next week, which is a pretty reasonable track to race your destination. But if you can get a win here and lock yourself into that final championship 8, I think you'd take it as quickly as you can run with it.
Here's the thing also, Samuel and Kevin, as we mentioned, the guys with the yellow spoilers and up on the hood visors to show that they're the playoff contenders in the Speed 16 to make it to the Elite 8, if you will, Samuel. You've also got some hungry contenders like Michael McKinnon and others that are going to be throwing a fit there. Scooby-Doo back up in the front as well. Remember, he had problems in qualifying. He's now climbing into the top 10 as they work to 3.
Yeah, that's Tyler Dittmer in that 34. Dittmer's been a driver that's really shown kind of under the radar racing this season. He's had some great runs, and Tyler Dittmer actually getting the win earlier this season. And the 34 at times has shown to be a top 5 contender, just always figuring out, being consistent. Has had kind of an off type of a season the last couple of weeks, but Tyler Dittmer always going to be a threat, especially when we get to those final 15 laps of this race. Question is, how do you break up that of Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, and Chris Cinnamon? Because they have been the trio at every super speedway we've gone to, and all 3 of them have figured out how to be up front every single race. But Kevin, it can all change in a blink of an eye. We saw that coming to the end of stage 1. It certainly could happen again.
Yeah, you know, we've covered the keys of the race twice, and 3 strikes, you're out. These drivers really need to be careful. I'm not sure what compels them, but as we said, they always, for some reason, decide they're going to run wide open from green to checkers. And I was looking over at the 5 of Clinkart pulled in. I believe he's getting some damage fixed or whatever. He's going to go 2 laps down here, one of our championship contenders out of the mix. And well, Wesley, I look at that number 13 truck sitting right there. He brought us back to green, and now he's running right there on that low line, and he seems to have a pretty good truck with these other drivers.
Yeah, you know, Michael McKinnon, one of those guys that he has experience in the super speedway realm of things. Of course, one of the original people that created NASRA to form to be what it is back about 2 years ago. And again, stepped away. Good to see him back here tonight. And what in true form he can do here. He's right there with that pack. But right now, those colorful team trucks up on the outside lane, which, Samuel, they changed it up. If you remember, they hugged at the bottom in stage 1. Now they're up on the outside lane, and it's flip-flopping back between Bradley, Richards, and Wade, also trying to hold everyone else on the bottom as they work through the tri-oval.
You know, the big thing is that they haven't been able to fully clear. Once they get fully clear, that's when they're going to be really trying to make that transition to drop down. Otherwise, you know, I don't expect to see a lot of these drivers try to make too big of motions of, you know, changing things up. We're seeing it right now. Just having 4 trucks in line on that outer groove. They can work together, keep this speed, and at least have the front driver lead by nose. But here comes that momentum out of turn 2 on the backstretch. They certainly have this pace. They're hoping they can fully clear, just able to get 1. Bradley, he'll try to little bit of drag the brake and try to slow down this inside lane so his teammates can get in front of this 29. No, never mind, get spun, take him out. There they go, wrecking out of turn number 4.
Wow, that just did not work. Oh, wow, I cannot believe that.
Yeah, I agree, Kevin. My goodness. And it looked like, honestly, Samuel and Kevin, it's the same scenario. There was a bump draft made in the wrong part of the exit of the corner. We saw it happen to Cinnamon at the end of stage number 1, and now it happens to 2-time Dega truck winner Keith Bradley. And here is the scenario that's on his side, though, Samuel. He won last week at Iowa, so if he has bad luck night, it's not that bad of an evening for Friday the 3rd for him in 29.
Yeah, but the main thing is that 48 hard contact, watching just being spun around. Luckily didn't get into the wall, but Michael McKinnon heavily damaged. A lot of drivers there did not need to get that type of damage. Dittmer now has required damage blown engine for that of the 13 we see on screen. Same for that of Michael McKinnon. And this just dwindles down from what we had before, which was about 11 to 12 drivers that were raceable to go for a win. This cuts us down to less than 10 trucks that look raceable to try to go for a win here. We still have, we're going to be at less than 5 laps to go once again when we're coming up to our stage. And so lap 30 is going to be our stage break for these drivers. So it is go time, but at the same time, you got to hope that you got a truck at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the driver that's counting his blessings, and I'm sure it was quite an interesting look out the windshields, is Justin Lumpkin. We have not talked about Justin all night long, and there he was running in that 3rd slot, and all heck broke loose right in front of him, and the truck in front of him got cleared out, and he just somehow drove through the parted seas. And now these top drivers going down for pit service. We see Lumpkin heading into his pit stall right now, probably 4 tires and fuel. And yeah, what an interesting. I would not have guessed, Wesley, that they would be this aggressive so early, blocking, pushing, shoving, especially over in the corners of 3 and 4.
And here's something else to think about as we are back under the yellow flag, Samuel and Kevin. I mean, some of these guys are teammates that are bumping themselves, being a little aggressive to one another. And the friend and foes thing, I think, comes to mind here. Because when is one of your teammates going to say, hey, I'm tired of it. Why did you do that to me? Well, guess what? I'm going to return the favor if we come to the end of this thing. So, and Samuel, aren't we at the end of stage 2? Up in 5 more laps? Don't they go to lap 30 to stage 2?
Yeah, that is when we're coming up to our stage break. So these drivers, certainly, they're feeling the pressure. It's on for themselves. And, you know, as the drivers are stressing out at this point, hoping they've got, you know, a truck that at least can make it to the end. I know we got some people that are watching tonight's race, having some fun with it as Here's some of the drivers. Here's that of Dittmer's view of how he's going to be entering here tonight, getting a sense of how Tyler Dittmer's race, having his one monitor where he's got the racing action, his second having Discord open, as well as having other drivers. Here's Monica, Chris, as they're watching the race here tonight, rooting for that of Adam Cantwell. Unfortunate for the 63. Adam Cantwell has parked it for the night. That 63 machine looked strong during qualifying, looked strong for the early portions of this race, but that second caution really took out any opportunities and now has officially parked it. Same for that of Tyler Dittmer. But thank you for joining us and sharing how you're watching the race. If you want to be shown on how you're watching the race here this evening, use the hashtag share your seat and on that of Facebook, and we'll give a chance to pop up. How are you watching the races here on LSR TV? As right now, Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon, Devin Painter, that is Steven Thomas, as well as Joey Doucette, going to be your top 5 as these laps continue to trickle down. Well, it's getting crazy up in here, Kevin. I mean, these drivers, we're going to have less than 5 laps to go here in this stage for stage number 2. I mean, kind of similar to how we ended stage 1. I'm expecting them to go K-wire once more, but it might be a little bit more controlled with the amount of drivers that are going to have to be able to go side by side.
Yeah, it just feels like they've set the tone. They're going to run wide open all the way through. You have to feel for someone like Mike McKinnon, who paced himself, found himself out in front at the start of the stage, and just as he was getting in the mix, got cleared out, and that truck's still sitting down there getting some service, and we're not sure if he'll even be able to return to the event. And I just don't know the strategy for this race, how to do it. At this point, will you have enough competitive trucks to even make charges, make runs? That's going to be interesting to see how fast these trucks are when the green flag runs.
As these
that's the thing, Sam. Kevin, I'm sorry. I thought I was sorry, Samuel. I was going to say that as well in his sentiment, Samuel. I mean, we had less than 14 trucks in the pack even before this accident happened, and now it looks like we might have less than 12 trucks. That we've cut half the field of being competitive to be able to race to the finish of this thing, and we're not even at the end of stage 2. That's going to be something that we're going to be watching here as we get ready for the restart.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, as we're calling it, going to be seeing that of top 15 that are already up to this group that are getting prepared for the restart. Trying to catch up is Jose Luis Rivera and Adam Newbert that are going to be the last 2 drivers of our 17 that are on the lead lap. Then in pit road is still that of Keith Bradley, Michael McKinnon. They are both getting repairs for themselves, but on track, going to be multiple laps down. Blake Lothian's 3 laps down. James Morris is 4 laps down, and Jacob McKinnon going to be that of 6 laps down as drivers catching up, getting ready to go racing. It's going to be Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon, Steven Thomas, Devin Painter, and Ed Osborne going to be your top 5, with that of Joey Doucette, Huck Wigginton, Dina Shepard, Robert Richards, and Taylor Peacock going to be your top 10. You know, half those drivers we just named, they were all involved in the big one back in our second caution of this here tonight. And now they got an opportunity to go for a top 10. It's all about that mental fortitude. Keep yourself looking forward. Keep the truck on track. You never know what you're going to finish with, because the aggressive driving is certainly here as we are green. Ted Wade bringing us to the start of lap number 26 for these drivers, moving up to 27 here for the Triple M pulling 200 here at Talladega. We're still in stage 2, but it's lap 30 that we're racing for stage number 2 to come to a conclusion.
Yeah, say what you want about what has happened so far. These 2, Cinnamon and Wade, right now look like they're in the catbird seat. These 2 have been up front the whole night long and been able to avoid all the problems. And I have a feeling Devin Painter might have a little something to say about this before we're done. But right now, Wesley, top 5 trucks tucked in nose to tail, and they've broken away a little bit.
Yeah, nobody really works out of line as they come out of turn number 4. I think they know that they're seeing daylight at the end of the tunnel here in stage number 2 as they'll flash across the stripe with 3 laps to go. Wade is there. Here comes Cinnamon. Painter will follow. Thomas Doucette also in that move as they come to the tri-oval. Back to start finish. And Samuel, another thing as they set sail to turn 1, it takes these guys a couple of laps to get up to full speed. And I think that's also a premium as we have a few laps left in stage 2 as well.
Brandon on board here with Ted Wade and getting a sense of our leader is getting pushed by his teammate of Chris Cinnamon. And looking at the numbers for these drivers, it's Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon that are the two that have the least amount of damage that they've been dealing with, as well as Devin Painter in third. Our top three, they've only come to pit road once, and it was at our stage break. Ted Wade had a little bit of damage that he had to get repaired. But besides that, for the two, our top three all looking pretty stout on the ways their trucks are looking. But here comes Joey Doucette, a driver that's actually coming to pit road 4 times here tonight to get repairs done, as well as a little bit of strategy. Well, he's got the help, and that outside line is moving now.
Yeah, same situation going on here. They see these two trucks up front on the bottom, and they know that they have to break them up or at least try to overcome them. And 4 drivers hooked up there. You got Doucette and a couple other trucks. Let's see. Well, let's see if there's 4, maybe 5 going to join in on that high line. When you get all those trucks together, Wesley, on the top side, they can make a little hay up there and get around these two to see if they can wrestle the lead away.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Kevin. Conservative is the name of the game as Doucette powers up to the outside lane, and he's got a friend, Maverick and Goose, if you will, with Osborne up top, but still hugging the bottom. It is the teammate of Wade and Cinnamon. Without Bradley, they're able to show their strengths as they work now coming out of turn 4 back to the tri-oval. And there's a couple of laps left to go, Samuel, here in stage number 2.
Come across the line. It is now go time, what you would call the white flag for stage number 2, as we are now on lap number 30. Ted Wade, Joey Doucette going to be side by side. Ted Wade, who's been Mr. Consistent. After last week, he's now second in the wins for this season. He's looking to get another win potentially here, but let's go 3 wide, Kevin. This is getting dangerous now.
Yeah, these drivers are going to run back to this stage, see whatever points they can pick up, and you got to give a call to Ed Osborne. We've not talked to him in all night long. There he is sitting second in that outside lane. And whatever it looks like right now, coming off of turn number 4, it's going to be different when we get over there to the start-finish line, Wesley.
The Dirty Dozen work their way back out of turn 4 to the tri-oval. Who wants to get more stage points right now? It's teammates Wade and Cinnamon coming halfway through the tri-oval, Samuel, as they get ready to take the caution in stage 2.
And it's going to be Ted Wade once the yellow flag go waves out there, and it is the 2 clearly up front, but showing a little bit of fight from the rest of the field. That's something that we love to see here late as the drivers settle down, cool off. Kevin, I mean, this certainly is going to put these drivers at ease, at least knowing, hey, we've been involved in some big wrecks, but we still are competitive with Ted Wade and Chris Cinnamon.
Again, if you can get the truck patched up quite a bit and stay in that draft, tucked in behind the truck in front of you, you will pull you along and you can have a competitive truck. And when you work together in big groups, you can see what you can do to wrestle that away from those 2 teammates that have been leading the way thus far.
Hey, Samuel, here's the question, bud. Can they go to the finish here with pitting on the end of stage number 2? Can they go less than 50 laps to the checkered flag if we don't have overtime?
They cannot. They have, if we stay green from when we go green again to the end of this race, they are going to have to make at least 1 pit stop. So that's when it's going to get crucial for these drivers. But our top 10 drivers are going to get bonus points. Ted Wade maximizing himself here with that of Chris Cinnamon, Joey Doucette, Devin Painter, Ed Osborne, Taylor Peacock, Stephen Thomas, Dana Shepard, Robert Richards, and Derek Kilgore going to be your top 10 drivers. Well, everyone's coming into pit road. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll let you know where they lie after pit stops.
Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere. And knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is here on LSRTV. As up at the booth, my name is Sam Dyer. We've got ourselves Kevin England and as well Wesley Allen being our special guest here up the booth with us commentating, as well as LSRTV Studios, with Charles Wooten being our producer here tonight. It's NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series racing you got on screen here Friday night on LSRTV. It's also playoff racing action, the second race of 3 for the Sweet 16 round. But for these drivers, plenty of playoff drivers involved with major incidences for stage 1 and stage 2. It's been calamity and pressure of drivers taking each other out. Currently, we have ourselves with 16 drivers on the lead lap. The question is, how many are going to stay alive as you see Joey Doucette into pit road? But for all these drivers here tonight is the Triple M Pulling 200. Playoff racing action, different strategies are being thrown out. And Kevin, a lot of drivers deciding to come into pit road here at late as we're coming to the 1 to go, just top off on fuel.
Yeah, typically the fuel mileage here is somewhere around 25, 26 laps, and with what we have left, you could split the difference if you can top off here and save a little fuel under cautions or such. As yeah, a couple drivers going to stop in here and make sure that tank is as full as can be. I think one of the more important things for that, Wesley, is to look at who pitted here and know that in the future when they go to pit under green, they probably will work together, including Kilgore, who I think we have not mentioned tonight, but you see him on the screen. That truck looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I agree with you. And another thing that we talked about in the keys to victory was the fact of you needing to pit and not pit alone. Know who your friends are and know who's going to help you bump draft you back up to the front. If you come to the pits and you pit and you're off cycle with everybody else, Samuel, that's going to hurt you in the outcome of losing the gain of the pack. And then for the most part, you might get passed by the fast pack and go a lap down. So you got to know your strategy. And as you said, you can't go to the finish here with under 50 laps to go on this restart in stage 3 to the checkered flag. So think of that pit strategy. Think of who your friends are on the racetrack, who can be able to run with you, draft with you if they're not teammates, and see who can put something up. But here's another thing, Samuel, as we get go back to green. It's Friday night, but it's Friday the 13th. How many of these guys feel like they're in a nightmare tonight at Talladega for this playoff race?
I mean, certainly a lot of them further back in the field that are out of this race already, like Tyler Dittmer, as well as Michael McKinnon, Adam Cantwell, and Trey Pitts. They're certainly the nightmare is struck in for themselves. But for those that have been up front, such as Ted Wade and Chris Cinnamon, they're feeling pretty comfortable for themselves with the amount of drivers that have been taken out of this race and the great bonus points that both of them have. Well, at least for Ted Wade, he's grabbed. It's been a pretty solid night for this too on how he's been running up front. Chris Cinnamon missed out on some good bonus points at the end of stage 1. But hey, there's no more stages to worry about. But want to give a big thanks to our stage break sponsor, that at Sim Racer Hub. If you're looking to get yourself any type of stats, iRacing League information, wins, top 5s, polls, any stats you're looking for, Sim Racer Hub is the way to go. I mean, that's where most of us get our information up in the booth on who's got the best top 5s, who's got the major polls. We love to have Sim Racer Hub as our stage break sponsor here for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But there's no more stages. It's all about finishing here to the end. Lap 80, now our goal, and it's the win that's on the line.
It was connection woes last week for Ted Wade, but this week it's been all smiles all the way through for these stage points. And now he's got one more box to check. He wants to get the win here tonight and lock himself into the dominant leader of this season. He's got to wrestle this away from his teammate Chris Cinnamon, who's been there all night long. And well, you got Devin Painter and others lurking right behind him. No more stage breaks. To your point, it's time to go, Wesley. It's time to go.
And remember, we ain't even got halfway yet, Samuel, as we get ready to come back to the green flag. The Angry Owls are hooing on the over-the-top designs trucks on the front row of Cinnamon and Wade. Everyone else trying to hold them at bay. We'll see if they can be there at the end. The last two stages, they've been in the catbird seat to finish and get those stage points. Now we're looking for the checkered flag as they get ready for the green flag coming up here this time by when they reach start-finish.
Going to be a total of 20 drivers still out on track, but only 17 going to be on the lead lap for this go. And we look at the amount of damage that some of these drivers have been dealing with. There's only about 3 or 4 trucks that look pristine that are going to be raceable. The rest, they're hoping that they have just a little bit of magic still under the hood as we're getting ready to go green here in the middle of 3 and 4. And Kevin, we still have a little bit of time before we go green. We talked about stage 1, we talked about stage 2, the go button. Are we finally going to see a breath of drivers breathing, or is that go button still going to be throttled down from here on out?
Ironically, I think this is the time to go. When green comes out here for this stage, you got to make sure you're in that lead draft. So if you have a good truck, at least hang with these front trucks. Don't let them drive away so you can stay in contention here. And then you're going to ride a little bit. We'll see how that plays out as the green flag's going to drop any second here.
As we're closing in on the halfway here for that of the Triple M Pulling 200 at Talladega, it's time to see who's going to win here. Will it be a playoff driver who locks themselves into that of the Elite 8? Or could it be someone trying to swindle a win in a lock-in spot? And here we go, green flag into turn number 1. Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon already in line, but it's all about the drivers behind these two. Who's going to get together, get in line, and try to make the pass immediately?
If you have a good truck, you got to be careful here that you don't get stuck behind somebody with damage and slows your momentum. You're going to lose the draft. We see the 4 of Adam Newbert, his truck just not up to speed. It's going to be the boat anchor on the outside. Everybody drives by. I see the 48 of Robert Richards there towards the back trying to see if he can hang on to this draft as they single file out front coming off turn 4. Wesley, it looks to be about a dozen trucks or so.
Stage 1 down, stage 2 down. Now everybody settles in for the finish to the checkered flag here at Talladega. It's Wade still holding on as now you look at this bluegrass entry, number 42, under attack for position. Going in that pack going on. That is inside the top 10 with Richards, Lumpkin, Kilgore. This battle heating up out of turn number 2.
Side by side, seeing the two different groups. And like you said, Kevin, this group right now is only 10 drivers. And oh boy, Hartwig not feeling comfortable. He'll drop down to contact with Lumpkin, and Lumpkin now gets out his sword. You gotta clean that up a little bit, but both those drivers now gonna lose the draft. It's now down to just a total of 8 drivers in this lead pack.
Yeah, I ran an official iRacing last night with Justin Lumpkin. We were running Kansas. We swapped positions, and I finished 6th. He finished 7th, and we had an incredible race. And I could just tell the passion of this guy and how much he's up on the wheel. That's going to hurt to watch those guys drive away. At some point, he's going to have to hope for a caution to get himself back in this.
Yeah, I was going to say this sentiments as well. Kevin and Samuel as they work back again past start finish into turn number 1 and 2 with still Osborne out in front. Now finally somebody making something work on the outside lane. But as soon as something works on the shelf where Osborne tries to power us back, it's Wade and Cinnamon hooking up again and make that form work on the bottom. As here comes also Painter up with those 2 team trucks over into turn number 3.
And you see the drivers with the yellow banners and the yellow spoilers. Those are the drivers that are in the playoffs. If they find themselves in a victory lane here tonight, they're locked into the next round. But if they don't win, and it's someone that doesn't have the yellow banners, well, that's taking a lock-in spot. And that's going to force the rest of these drivers to have to point their way in to that of the Elite 8. There's only one driver, and that's going to be that of going to see Keith Bradley, winner of Iowa last week. He's the only driver officially locked in to the next round as we're right on board with Ted Wade on the inside. But the pressure's on for the rest of these drivers. Another spot wide open to try to lock themselves in.
Yeah, you see these trucks run nose to tail here. They got to make a call to Stephen Thomas. He's back about 2 or 3 trucks from your shot here. First time I think we've mentioned him tonight, Wesley, and he's a championship contender. He's got a little ding, little dang on his truck, but right now that thing is hanging in this draft, and he's got himself in the right position to see if he can get himself a win.
Yeah, you know, Thomas has done exactly what I've said when we got ready to drop the green flag. He's kind of hung back. He's played possum. He knows now this is when it's all for the marbles, and that number 23 Toyota settles down, nestles in under Painter, putting him now into that number 7. Meanwhile, Osborne and Richards now taking out the teammates of Wade and Cinnamon, who have now fell back to 3rd and 4th. Do set top 5 as we are approaching halfway.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling as we get an aerial coverage view of how these drivers coming out of turn number 4. And you can see there's still a couple of drivers trickling and holding on to the rear of this pack. And that's going to be seeing about 15 drivers still attached. Cody Nott's going to be that 15th driver, a little bit further back than my liking, but still having connections with this group. But everyone's single filing out, recognizing, hey, let's calm down as we're getting closer and closer to halfway. But it's Taylor Peacock who's trying to make that outside lane work. He's going to have help from that Derek Kilgore side by side with that Osborne and Robert Richards. It's Chris Cinnamon, Ted Wade. They'll have to linger and watch these 4 about to duke it out.
The first time we've not seen those multicolored trucks up front, and yellow is out.
That's going.
Oh,
blue motor.
No, just 3 drivers, I think, that could have brought this one out. As Steve Klinkart's engine is gone. His drivers
well, Kevin,
that were
so much for your pick.
Oh man, but Wesley, this is not the way that we want to see a wreck happen. It's three drivers heavily damaged, just running their own race, and here's Morris trying to push that Klinkart, and there's Jose Luis Rivera, and just hooks the quarter panel, and there they go.
I mean, that's just bad luck there for Card. I mean, he literally just got kind of turned, fishtailed, smacked the wall, and the same guy that got into him, who tried to get on the binders to try to miss him again, Samuel and Kevin, he just got hit. He hit him again.
That he did, and now Jacob Klinkart's going to have required damage with blown engine. He'll have to go back into pit road, and he was in there for quite a long time at the start of this race after being involved with our big one at the end of stage 1. Now going to have to come back into pit road. The question is, does he continue to stay in pit road, or does he just call it a night? He's already 6 laps down, going to be way over that once he gets back out on track, and there might not be enough time to gain any more positions. So this could be the end of the 5, as the rest of the field gives them an opportunity to think about coming to pit road. Might be playing some mind games. Is that Osborne as well as Peacock poking their nose down the double yellow, or will they come into pit road?
They're all going to go. They're going to go get fuel.
And that they will as well. LSRTV, hey, if you would like to be hired for production, be an announcer with us up in the booth, hey, we're hiring right now. Go to that of livesimracingtv.com to apply if you want to join us here and be a part of the team for LSRTV. As drivers get themselves situated and going to be back out on track. A couple of drivers just going with fuel, and that's it. Some taking tires. They have 3 sets Samuel, if they want it, but yeah.
Could this be the money stop? After halfway, 40 to go, could this be the money stop, you think?
I don't think this is the money stop. I think we still need another 10 more laps before we're in that range, but certainly these drivers just trying to extend how much they can stay out if we stay green for any longer distance of time.
Yeah, not sure if you could believe the drivers when you talk to them, because they always hold things a little bit to the vest. But last time we were here, they were talking about 28 laps was the distance with, lap 40 on the books right now. I suspect they're going to have to make one more stop still.
And as the drivers get set, we're now officially at halfway for these drivers. Zach Hartwick, the only driver that did not come into pit road under this yellow. So the 24 on his truck, 88 on our ticker, will be leading for now. We'll see if he'll decide to come into pit road, though, and just top off for himself. As here's a ML performance weather conditions for these drivers. As been seen on screen, it's been really gray out on track, partly cloudy, but the ambient temperature is going to be 77 degrees. But that track temp, it has actually been dropping because of how gray the cloud coverage has been on this track. At one moment, I think it was at 100 and about 12. It's now down to 105 track temp. But Kevin, certainly still a cheese grater out there, even though tire wear never a factor we really talk about when we come to super speedways.
Yeah, it makes you feel good to get tires here, but generally tire wear not a concern at these super speedways. In some handling conditions, you can get some tires that helps the truck cut a little bit when you're trying to swap lanes or whatever, give you a little more security. But most of these drivers just change tires when they change fuel because they can. I was thinking maybe the 24 was going to turn down and go for some fuel here, and he didn't realize that dream for me, so I guess he's going to stay out here and lead us back to green, Wesley.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about tires, and obviously, Samuel and Kevin, you think of Darlington or even Dover, those are abrasive on tires. The pavement, the concrete, those are tracks that really are abrasive to tires. This track right here, though it's got a lot of character and it's been around, not been repaved in a while, Talladega is just one of those wide open racetracks. And again, pretty much when you come down to the pit lane and you take on tires and fuel, that's normally a premium. So I don't think we're going to see that problem again, even though the temperatures are going up and down. And 1 minute, Samuel, the sun's out, then it's cloud cover. That's really, I don't think, going to affect these trucks in any way, except maybe the handling. That might make the truck free up or tighten up. It's just, I just said that. You see the sun poke through the clouds again.
Yeah, partly cloudy, meaning with the dynamic weather here on iRacing, it's going to be changing, and it certainly has been while we've been green, but it's been mainly cloudy for most of this race, and that's why the track temp has been cooling off. You know, maybe in 20 laps, if there's another caution, we'll take another look at our ML Performance weather conditions and see what the weather's looking like. But for now, drivers getting set. We'll see if, I mean, up front, certainly a couple of drivers making some contact of seeing, you know, a little bit of that of Lumpkin and others not wanting to get out of shape. But luckily they were able to recoup, come back, catch up to our leaders. And Kevin, this is going to be a good restart, I think, for the drivers to recognize, all right, how aggressive do we want to be? We're past halfway. Or do we want to get back to that settled motion of just side-by-side, two-wide racing for these drivers up front?
Yeah, one of the opening stories we talk about is these drivers that we don't commonly see up front. We got the 24 and the flip side, 42 running right there nose to tail. These are drivers that come to this racetrack and know that they were in even ground with everybody else and want to get a win on the season. This is the goodest place of any to come and claim it, and of course they've got the 2 and the 3 right there behind them. But this should make for an interesting restart and run as you have some new players up here in the mix.
We come into a super speedway, there's always conversation of how you want to race this thing out, as, oh boy, drivers ducking it in, as they will actually be giving the drivers an extended lap here. So everyone coming into pit road to get service done. A little bit of a shocker to see everyone come in, but I mean, if you're going to have extra time, all just coming to pit road.
True. See, I told you I wanted to see that 24 pit, and I'm glad he did it.
I mean, certainly a scare for a lot of these drivers. They were given an extra lap of just pacing, so drivers all coming in to get service done for a quick moment, just top it off with fuel, get back out there on track. A couple of drivers that didn't, though, Huck Wigington, Jose Luis Rivera, both going to find themselves still out on track and not coming in. This is going to be a gutsy call on their part.
Maybe Huck pitted a second ago there, Wesley.
Samuel, they found debris on the back straightaway, extended caution flag.
That certainly is a go-to you could throw out of
Water ball.
Yeah.
Someone's angry. I mean, it's Talladega, so you never know what they're throwing out there on track.
Hey, sometimes what happens is the driver who's trying to catch it back at the field doesn't get there. Someone's going to get a black flag. The sim recognizes that, and rather than penalize the driver, they will extend the caution. And I'm not sure that's the case, but if I had to hedge my bets, Sam, I would guess that's what was going on there.
Yeah, that's most likely what happened there, which, you know, if anything, helping a couple of other drivers as Adam Newbert able to come into pit road and actually get some more extended damage repair for himself. Same for Ted Wade, who had found a little bit of damage for the 2. So drivers going to get a little bit of extended time. Also, packing it full of fuel. Any fuel you can put in, helping your strategy out. For Huck Wigington, Jose Luis Rivera, they're now going to have to bank on the fact that these drivers that decided to come into pit road top off on fuel, that everyone's under the same understanding of coming into pit road, just like your keys to victory. You do not, if we stay green and we need a green flag pit stop, do not come in alone. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble for yourself. But because everyone came into pit road, it's going to be an odd restart, because if you come into pit road late, you'll have to stay on the inside lane. So for the driver that's on the outside of Jose Luis Rivera, he's going to find himself with no help on the outside. And now he's got to struggle and wait for this restart as we're ready to go green flag racing. We're past halfway. It's go time here for the Triple M Pulling 200 at Talladega. And just like this, we're green. Huck Wigington leading some of his first laps of the season for the 00. But for how long is the rest of the field going to be strung out behind him?
I love it. I love to see Huck get there in the front, and I love to see that Rivera was able to get down. He was doing a little Eric Carmen all by myself up there. Jumped down into second. He's got Taylor Peacock right there to the high side, going to make the charge. They're organized to the top, and I suspect, Wesley, we're going to be too wide in just a moment.
You know, that restart reminds me, Kevin and Samuel, back in the days of old NASCAR, back in the Winston Cup era, when the lap car was up on the outside lane or the inside lane and everyone else was all single file, with that scenario that just happened, these double files, reduced cones, and everything else that we see today. Phil works off turn 4. Peacock powers the lead. Osmer, Shepard working through the triangle as they work out of 4.
And for that of Jose Luis Rivera and Huck Wigington, they did their best, but they're damaged, they're underpowered, and now falling backwards. A couple of the drivers, though, I'm really watching out for is Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon. They are not attached to this lead pack. They're 2.5 seconds back. They're going to be drivers that are going to have to find a little bit of help and some speed if they want to catch up to this lead group, as that of Robert Richardson and others feel comfortable on the outside.
Yeah, not sure of what to make of this story, but Huck Wigington went to pit road. I'm not sure if he's got some sort of penalty or... Yeah, he's down there sitting in his pit box right now, but out front, Richards has come to the front with Painter behind him, Lumpkin in tow. And that number 11 truck looks awful pretty down there on the bottom. Kilgore having a good run here tonight, Wesley.
Yeah, it's good to see Kilgore back up there in that mix. And like we told you, Samuel and Kevin, you really got to work yourself up to this point. We saw some aggressive driving earlier. We've seen maybe some things that shouldn't have taken place, but now the drivers that want to be at the catbird seat to go to the win are up in front. Those that play possum now showing their strength, as it's Richards, Painter, Lumpkin, Shepard, Kilgore now the top 5. Shepard's up on the outside as they work out of turn number 2.
As we're watching these drivers continue to race on, this of Shepard really putting on a class act on the outside, looking for any type of help if possible. Also, an update on the 00. Huck Wigington had a hold penalty for that of 30 seconds. Unsafe pit exit looked like for the 00. Just took an extra time for him to finally come to pit road. Wanted to lead a lap, but now going to be mired 1 lap down for the 00. And Chris Cinnamon, Ted Wade, they're back to this lead pack. It's on. This lead group all going to be 15 trucks deep on who's going to find themselves in victory lane.
Richards out front. He's got Shepard on the challenge to the outside with the 24 sitting right there. Hardwick, you see these drivers just trying to get organized, and to the point of what Sam just made a second ago, the 2 and the 3 are back together. The question is, Wesley, how long will it take before they jump to that third line?
Well, here's the thing, Kevin. We're moving in on under 30 laps to go. We're closing in on 30 laps to go here. Obviously, more aggressive driving, I think, is worked down the end of the stretch. But for the moment, I think you need to ride and drive. Hold your line. Stay in your position. Don't do anything aggressive at the moment. You've got a lot of racing left to go, as it's still Shepard leading as they work travel out of 4.
Well, also, you got a little bit of inexperience on drivers being up front. I mean, I'm looking at that as Zach Harkwick in the 24. He is making some very aggressive moves, high-low, and really not holding a stable line. That 24 truck on the outside, second truck on the outside, I'm getting concerned about. We also have a couple of other drivers. I mean, Derek Kilgore, yes, he's got a pristine 11 truck, but he hasn't really been up front all night long. Neither has Devin Painter, except for the times we've seen the wreck happen at the end of stage 1. These drivers that haven't been up front for the majority of the season, they've got to be careful with some of these moves, because they can really cause another big one if they're not careful.
Highline decided they were better off with Hardwick leading. He drove to the outside. Now he dives all the way down the backing to the yellow line. They're side by side. three wide maybe for that third, fourth, fifth position. Richards down on the bottom, and here comes the 2 and the 3. Wade and Cinnamon hooked up one more time here in the trioval.
So everybody's caught up. That Valvoline 24 truck is actually Hartwick. He now falls back to second. Here comes Wade and Cinnamon. Makes for the top designs working out. And they some help down with Richards and Shepard. They're coming after them in the top 5 as we are.
As these laps continue to tick away, going to be seen up front, side by side, going to be about that of 3-4 rows deep. But the drivers that are lingering and waiting, those drivers that are not really side by side or pushing or putting the pressure on, watch out for those. That's going to be led by that of Steven Thomas, Jose Luis Rivera, Tyler Peacock. Those are some fast trucks. Yes, they're damaged slightly, but they certainly are in the wait until pounce stage. It's Steven Thomas, and that going to be back in 10th place for the 23. He's going to be my dark horse to watch out as these laps continue to tick away here, Kevin.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers lurking back here that you kind of want to give a nod to and see if they can get the job done. I'm looking at that 17 of Brandon Bullock. We saw him in one of the shots with heavy contact earlier, but he's hanging on right now to the 8th position. And I have to wonder if some of these drivers out back still have a good play. Peacock, you're looking at Ed Osborne, Doucette. The 3 of them have dropped off of this field. They must feel like, to the point of the aggression we've seen so far, the rubber band is stretched tight, Wesley. I think they're not done yet with crashes, and these guys know it.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They're coming, Kevin, to the start-finish line this time by, and it will finally be 30 laps to go here down the stretch. And again, you start picking your line, start picking your friends. Who's going to be able to be there with you? You see this 2-truck tandem now, Sam, starting to take formation. You got the teammates, though, of Cinnamon and Wade. Wade and Cinnamon flip that. They're continuing to stay up in front. They have been the top dominators all evening here at Talladega, and now we head to the home stretch with 30 to go.
Yeah, and I'm curious, just because of the fact that Ted Wade had his internet woes last week at Iowa, really went from a driver that was our favorite to win at Iowa to out of the race because he got disconnected for the 2. Is Chris Cinnamon thinking, you know what, team aspect, Ted Wade didn't get the maximum amount of points that he was hoping to grab. I'm going to help this too. They helped me win to make it in the playoffs. It's my turn to give a little bit of that back by helping Ted Wade get his win here at Talladega to lock into the round of 8.
No. My sense is they're going to work together till that final quarter to come through the trioval, and then they're going to pull out, and whoever wins, wins. So I don't think they wish ill will on each other. Mission accomplished if they can get to the win, whether it's one or the other. I think they all will try to fight and crash their mother if they have to win this race, especially those teammates. No team orders for this. Both of them have too much at stake with those yellow banners on the windshield. They need to get themselves into the championship with as much points as possible. They'll help each other right until coming off of turn 4. And I think, Wesley, after that, gloves are off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my friend, I agree with you 150, 200, 1,000% and more. They might be teammates, but they got those yellow visors. They know their drivers in the Speed 16. And if they want to make it, Samuel, to the elite, they will do any and everything they can down the stretch. Coming off of that 4th turn to the checkered flag, like I said, friends become foes, and you're going to do what you need to do to get a win to move yourself into the next round of the playoffs and a championship run.
And with that, we are now in 28 laps to go. We're now in the range of these drivers making it on fuel once they come into pit road. But these drivers, they came into pit road that 11 laps ago for some, meaning that they're going to be in a position of needing to come into pit road with 11 laps to go, potentially with 9 laps to go. That's when they're going to be making their final pit stop. And Kevin, the mind games are certainly going to be thrown out because of how small of a field there is. You could come in with 3 to 4 trucks, but you got to make sure everyone comes into pit road and doesn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers will be communicating with each other. I'm going to pit. Are you coming with me? Spotters will be talking to each other. When they pull off of the racetrack, one's going to go low, one's going to go high. Do not speed crossing the line. Get yourself a clean pit stop. And most importantly, Wesley, you got to have your friends when you're pulling off that pit road.
You're exactly right. And the other thing is you got to make sure you hit your marks. Do not make mistakes coming down to the pit lane. Do not get busted for speeding. And do not lock up the tires and spin out entering the pit lane or even exiting for that matter. And then again, as we mentioned, obviously, those are those key points in this race. First time tonight as well, as we have 26 laps to go this time by at the start-finish line. We know if we do not get a caution flag, we're going to see green flag pit stops for the first time in this race as well. And that's really going to throw a monkey wrench in the playing running order.
It really is, and that's why these drivers are single file out for now, not trying to put any pressure. As you see that of Adam Newbert, 16th position, finally going to be going a lap down is the 4. It'll be the first car 1 lap down. The next driver our leaders are trying to catch up to is going to be Jose Luis Rivera, who's now going to be passed. And actually, that's going to be the 5 of Derek Kilgore, who's back out on track. Only had about 11 minutes of damage repair for that 5, able to get back out on track and luckily running. So we have ourselves 20 trucks on track running. But for this lead group, we only have that of 14 that are attached to this lead pack, but they're so strung out, all single filed out from our leader back to 14. That's almost 2.5 seconds, but because of the power of the draft, everyone's still connected.
Yeah, that would be Clinkart in the 5. Kilgore's in the 11, and Clinkart's truck looked like it was riding around on pace speed. I'm surprised how slow that truck is, but he's trying to make a go of it. I'm with you, Sam. We watch these drivers run nose to tail, and it seems like they've spaced out. This is the lull. This is the calm before the storm. I have a feeling that they're all getting set up, getting prepared to make that final pit stop, and then it will be run to the finish.
Oh, hey, and Kevin, don't forget about your pick, Hartwick. He's right there in the top 5. He's right there in position number 4, waiting patiently, obviously, waiting to see what the teammates are going to do. And here's the thing, Samuel. Those leaders pit, I think everybody is going to get on the binders. It's monkey see, monkey do. You want to be with the pack. You want to be with the fast trucks. They've been the fastest all night here as they come to under 25 remaining here at Talladega. Everybody, I believe, is going to come to the pit lane when those top 2 over-the-top design trucks of Wade and Cinnamon slam on the binders off of turn 4. Better be with them. I'm calling that right now.
Well, and that's the thing. There's always that strategy, though. Hey, if you see those front 2 coming to pit road, it might be advantageous for you to actually just let those 2 go into pit road by themselves, because you need at least 3 trucks in line to really put down some fast laps and really put the speed down. So if you let them come in by themselves, then you come in the lap after or 2 laps after, you're going to give yourself a little bit of a buffer to work with over Ted Wade and Chris Cinnamon once you come out of pit road. But that's all on the what if everyone comes into pit road cleanly and no mistakes are made.
We'll roll wide the pit entrance this time, coming through the tri-oval. As you watch these trucks come through here, there's a couple little dippy dudes. If you don't turn the truck in properly, it could step out on you, get sideways. Right now, it seems like everybody is minding their P's and Q's. And, there's another dynamic with pitting. First group, second group, I don't know, never could figure out. But sometimes when one group pits ahead of the other or pits after the other, they tend to get a faster run, Wesley. And I don't know if these drivers know what the secret sauce is for that. But typically, if there is an advantage to be had going first or going last, they know it, and you're going to see it pulled down.
Well, I'm just telling you off the record, obviously, we're in the broadcast booth, but if I was the driver of Robert Richards in that number 3 position behind Wade and Cinnamon, and I was behind the wheel driving right now, and I see those top 2 leaders come down to the pit lane, in my opinion, I'm going to come down and I'm going to pit with them. I'm going to stay in that pack with them, in that draft with them, because let's be honest, they have been the class of the field the entire time. But another thing, Samuel, we ain't even really talked about the elephant in the room. While these green flag pit stops, if they happen, which I believe is going to be in the next 5 laps or so, we also could see a caution flag. And if it happens during green flag pit stops, that also changes the entire complexion of the scoring pylon as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with these drivers, because of how small a field it is, when you come into pit road, you can make a green flag pit stop and not go a lap down. That is the most impressive thing about coming into pit stops here at Talladega. The track's so big that if you come in, come out, as long as you don't get caught with any speeding penalties or aren't too passive coming into pit road or on the exit of pit road, getting up to speed, you should stay on the lead lap. So if a yellow flag comes out, then you just be losing track position. But these drivers have shown track position doesn't really matter all the time. I mean, yes, our top 3 are all drivers that qualified in the top 10 and have been running strong, but we've seen Zach Hartwig, Devin Painter, Kilgore. These are drivers that qualify 15th or worse, and they're up here in the top 10. Yes, surviving the big ones, but as well showing you've got the speed in the truck. It doesn't matter where you qualify. The draft can outweigh the lack of speed you had during qualifying.
Yeah, if I'm sitting somewhere in this pack, I'm with Wesley. If I see the top drivers of the series go in, I'm going to go in with them. I want to be part of their draft. They always somehow magically find their way into that finish. If I'm looking at Wade, who's been there all year long, as soon as that 2 truck yanks left, I'm going with him, and I want to tuck on his back bumper. One of the things they can't make a mistake on, Wesley, is to forget to not change any tires. The crew chief needs to make the call to ensure that they don't do it. If someone you pit with goes in, no tires, just fuel, and drives away, you're sitting there changing all 4, your race is over.
Yeah, if you're a teammate, you're literally right now going to the spotters boxes, to the guys that are in your chat communication for iRacing, and you're saying, okay, here's our strategy. We're going to pit at this time. It's going to be 4 tires. It's going to be fuel. It's going to be 2 tires. It's going to be fuel, or it's going to be a splash and go, or it's just going to be fuel only. Those are the things that you know are going to take place when they prepare to make that pit stop. Before they drop onto the pit lane, Samuel, they know what their plans are for their teammates. And I think if they pull that off, like Samuel or like Kevin said, you're all in agreement, that will make also being a flawless pit stop, especially down the stretch with under 20 to go.
And there's allies you make, before the racing happens. I mean, yes, you've got your teammates that you have, but also on iRacing, we have the thing called the black box. It gives you information on also when you're going to take tires. You can unclick when you want tires or fuel, but also it gives you different radio channels. Drivers usually make alliances of, all right, we have our team radio channel. We also have our allied channel that we'll be swapping back and forth to of, hey, want to work with these drivers? Let's get their thoughts on how they're feeling about this race. All right, let's get a team aspect. We still want to follow those or go with something else. And for the drivers, we're coming up to 8 to 10 laps away from when we're expecting pit stops if they want to maximize and go completely to empty on their fuel.
14 trucks run nose to tail with Cody Knott pulling up the caboose. Adam Newberg 1 lap down. Jose Luis Rivera 1 lap down. Huck Wigington 1 lap down, quite a bit back as Newberg and Rivera running nose to tail. We saw these drivers last pit lap number 42. If we believe the number 28 is how far they can go, then somewhere around lap 70 is when they're going to pit, Wesley. And my sense is they're going to go as far as they can go before they run out of fuel so they can get in and off of pit road with the shortest amount of fuel being added to the truck to the finish.
Yeah, somewhere within lap 65 to 70, I think we'll start seeing these trucks peel down onto the pit lane off the tri-oval and prepare for what, yes, Samuel, we would call the money stop, obviously. And then if a yellow flag comes out, that totally changes the complexion of things. But we've had this long green flag run. It's like last night with another truck series we cover with iRacing on LSRTV, Samuel, with the Northwest Truck Series. We had 6 caution flags, as you see some of these trucks that are in the back making late race pit stops. But we had 6 caution flags mired in the first 50 laps of the race. And then we went all the way to the finish on a green flag run, as I think we got trucks off the pace. Samuel, I think he might be out of fuel.
Not out of fuel, blown engine. Going to be that of Jose Luis Rivera. He was being bumped and shoved by that of the 47 of James Morris. Morris went over the radio and said, what the heck, man? And it was a blown engine. He's going to come to a stop off the racing surface. Will stay green. But for Jose Luis Rivera, his race is done. He went as far as he could go. Looks like 20th could be the maximum position for the 97.
2 significant hits. No wonder that truck didn't make it through. Also saw Huck Wigington go to pit lane. I'm not sure if he's out or getting some additional service, but that's going to put him in arrears of being the lucky dog, as it's only really Adam Newberg that is eligible for that, as we see the 24 truck pull up high and hopefully he'll tuck back in this line.
So, you know, Kevin, you mentioned the window. Samuel, you did as well. It's probably going to be around lap 70 with 10 laps to go that we'll start seeing green flag pit stops. I think it might be before then as we're starting to, some trucks start to peel off. They're coming in with under 15 remaining. Green flag pit stops are about to begin here. We're going to see if we can go to the finish.
It's one driver. It's Brandon Bullock from our keys to victory. We noted on it, don't come in alone. And the 17 did exactly that, all by his lonesome. And for some of these drivers, that is going to be the cue of maybe we need to come in. I think Bullock was hoping he would spook some drivers to come into pit road. Didn't work. He's got to get up to speed and hope that our leaders come to pit road very quickly.
Yeah, we caught a glimpse in that shot of the 23 of Stephen Thomas had pulled down, feigned that he was going to go to pit road, pulled back up. That might have been what drew the 17 down there. Now they come around turn 4 number, and no, you see these drivers playing a little head game here. They wiggle down to the yellow line, but nobody pitting, Wesley.
And, you know, you ever heard of that cliche, being alone on a desert island with nobody around you? That's exactly what's happened to Bullock's truck as the 17 is now about to be just completely swallowed up by the fast traffic. Samuel, obviously, here comes the trucks coming after him hot and heavy with the pack. There he is by his lonesome somewhere on the track alone, single file. This was a costly mistake for a driver that honestly had a shot if he would have stayed with that pack in the top 15 to possibly win the race. Now he's got a chance to go on a lap down.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for Bullock right now. Going to find himself about 43 seconds, 44 seconds off of our leaders. So that's going to be about 8 to 5 seconds here after this lap, going to be off from going a lap down. But that puts him around the window. We're expecting some of our leaders to think about dropping into pit road, get themselves pit stops fueled, and potentially some might think about taking 2 tires if they wanted a little bit of extra grip for themselves, but most likely just going to be fuel only for this field. But for Bullock, I mean, yes, you hate to see him come in by himself, but right now he's just trying to survive and see what's going to happen. And if a yellow flag comes out, he gets that track position.
It's not complicated to run nose to tail here in single file, but one of the things that does happen is when drivers peel off to go to pit road, they crash each other. If that does occur, then maybe Bullock will get a reprieve. He's not in this mix here. We're coming around turn 4, and we'll watch one more time to see. The thing that I do know, Wesley, is the lead truck has been burning the most fuel. He's running wide open the whole time as a couple of them peel off.
Peeling off.
That's going to be Justin Lumpkin.
Off there,
Thomas.
Samuel.
Yeah, Justin Lumpkin and Thomas both going to be coming into pit road together. Only 2 trucks coming in. That's 23 and the 87. Both drivers with a little bit of damage. They've been trying to repair on it. You see the scrub marks. That's been there for the majority of the race for Stephen Thomas, as well as a little bit of rear end damage. Same for that of Lumpkin. Both going to get fuel. Expected to get rolling here shortly, and they both take off at the same time. But oh boy, Thomas wheel spinning it. That's going to be costing some time for himself, but they get back out on track. Now, as these drivers get up to speed, the question is for our leaders, as they're rolling through that of 3 and 4, when will they come into pit road? Will it be this time as they're coming out of turn 4?
Yeah, I was saying before, the 2 has to pit at some point in front of everybody else. And well, now they know almost the entire field, if not all of them, pulled off. And this, as Wesley said, this is the money stop.
This is exactly what I told you was going to happen, Samuel and Kevin. Obviously, monkey see, monkey do. The top 2 fast Dominator trucks of the evening for over-the-top designs still onto the pit lane. And here comes the entire cavalry will follow. And Samuel, honestly, that was the smart thing to do.
It was, but major issues for that of Devin Painter. Just was not angled properly. Had to back up, losing time and ground. Same goes to Hardwick. A lot of drivers made mistakes coming into pit road. And for Zach Hardwick, speeding into pit road. Same goes to Derek Kilgore, 2 of our favorites to watch out for. They're now done and dusted because with a holding penalty, they could go a lap or 2 down.
Now the question is, those 2 trucks that pitted that are full speed, having pitted 1 lap earlier, where will they come out in the mix as the field rolls down the back straightaway You see immediately Wade and Cinnamon hooking up. They've got a good run. Slow truck to the outside. They're going to peel through it is Richards to the bottom. The 81 of Taylor Peacock right down there. They're side by side, 2, 3, and 4, trying to settle it out, Wesley, as to who's going to lead after these round of pit stops.
Teammates up on the outside lane. Richards and the other ones follow down to the bottom, working their way through the tri-oval. It's now time, Samuel, to come to the line. It's 10 laps to go. If you're ready to make a move, to go to the win light here, it is time to do it. This is when you start getting crazy on Friday 13th at Talladega.
You were wondering where Justin Lumpkin and Stephen Thomas are. They're going to be 4.7 seconds back from this lead group and from our leaders. That is too far back. They don't have the draft help. This lead pack that we're watching right now, it is our top 7, and it is all on the line. Chris Cinnamon, Ted Wade, Robert Richards, Dana Shepard, Taylor Peacock, Ed Osborne, and Joey Doucette. All in this group. Ed Osborne, the only non-playoff driver who can try to steal away a win for the drivers that are hoping to look themselves into the next round.
Yeah, Osborne a bit of a sentimental favorite here to see if he can get himself an upset and steal the win away. He's to the top side, trying to do what he can, hooked on the back bumper of the number 81 of Taylor Peacock. Peacock, the one trying to make the charge to wrestle away from those teammates, Ted Wade, and it's Chris Cinnamon out front here with the lead. And I have to wonder, Wesley, does he have enough fuel now to make it to the finish? You have to imagine everybody figured that out. They've got to be good to go from now on.
It's go time, exactly, Kevin. Just like you said, if you're going to make a move, you better go down. You've got 6 drivers that are in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series playoffs. As Samuel reiterated on, driver the outlaw trying to pull the upset. It's coming to the finish. Who wants it more as they work their way now out of turn number 4?
And Kevin, you threw out fuel. Is it going to be an issue for any of these drivers? Looking at the times, everyone packed it full of fuel. They got plenty in there. They're good to make it to the end. There's no concern on if they're going to run out. The question is, who's going to make the move? We know that we're going to see Chris Cinnamon and Ted Wade work with one another, but will Robert Richards be the first driver to move up, or will it be Dana Shepard that thinks about making the big move? Because it's got to be either that of the 3rd or the 4th truck in line if they're going to have the best opportunity to get past our leaders, but it's going to be that of the 5th driver in line. Taylor Peacock moves up to the higher groove.
Yeah, I just have to take a moment. You know, I've got my crying towel out as I just watched him go by Hardwick, and I'll gather it up and see if I can get it going here. Seeing Taylor Peacock on the outside with Doucette. You know, if there's ever somebody that can sneak away and get a win, we saw him win earlier this season. Doucette has a fast truck right there in the mix, and I just have a feeling we cannot guarantee that these top 2, as strong as they've been, are going to just give him the win. It's not going to happen that way, Wesley.
Yeah, you're so right, Kevin. You got to be patient here as well, as we're starting to see some bobbing and weaving here going down the stretch as they work down the Alabama Gang Super straightaway. Now they all nestled in the yellow line, all body, conga line, single file. The train roars to 3. No one jumping out of line just yet. And why would they, Samuel? It's not to the finish yet. His time is running out, but you do not need to make a slip too early.
Yeah, and want to give an update on the drivers that are in this lead pack. Okay, the front 7 are all on the lead lap, but the pack 2, the 24, that's going to be Zach Hartwig, as well as the 11 of Derek Kilgore. Both are a lap down. They're fighting to make sure they're in the Lucky Dogs position, so they're going to be dueling it back and forth. But they also could be the factor on who gets the win here tonight, on who they want to work with. Could it be Chris Cinnamon and Ted Wade who might sweep the super speedways as a team? It was that of seeing Keith Bradley taking the first 2 super speedways. Then Chris Cinnamon took the 3rd super speedway race. The teammates have been looking good. Could Ted Wade find himself in the victory lane and make it a team sweep at the super speedways? And showing teamwork was the factor at all these tracks. Could we see someone else try to steal this one away as we're coming through 3 and 4, coming to 5 laps to go?
Off turn number 4, they roll through the banking and come to the straightaway here, and I think those 2 out front are a sitting duck. Everybody knows that they're the ones to beat, and I believe, Wesley, that they're going to get organized to gang up on those guys. It's almost a disadvantage. As fast as they've been all night long, it just gives more incentive for all those 6, 7 trucks behind him to gang up and beat him.
Yeah, I think you're right, Kevin, as everybody still for the time being stays single file. Cinnamon and Wade, 1 and 2. Those colorful owls are hooing down the back straightaway, but no one can hold them off just yet. They still stay to the bottom of the yellow line. Inside, outside lanes, people start to shuffle up and back now. Doucette powers to third. Still down, Kerry Richards and Peacock with him. They work their way up to turn 3, out of turn 4, 2 by 2. It's starting to get wild in the stretch at Talladega. Line.
Joey Doucette on the outside lane. You think about how Joey Doucette found himself in a victory lane just that a few months ago at Lucas Oil. It was when he found himself being in third place, saw the leaders wipe each other out, and snuck away a victory. But here tonight, the best opportunity. He's leading that outer group. It's all about muscle power at this point. Will it be the 4 drivers on the outside, or will it be the 4 on the inside? Right now, Chris Cinnamon leads, but Joey Doucette needing just a little bit more help. Will Hardwick join in the outer groove, or just linger back? Looks like lingering is his favorite position.
4 trucks to the outside, 4 trucks to the inside. The last truck in line, if the 11 pulls out, it's going to stall that outside line. The inside is going to drive off here out of turn number 4. Nose to tail, these top 2, the best way that they can get the job done, Wesley, is stay exactly the way they are. Beat, bang, push that bumper, and do not let these guys get a run to the outside where they can side draft you off and pull ahead of you. Right now, these top 2 need to work really hard at that draft.
You're exactly right. You saw the front visor there of Wade. He's got Cinnamon, his teammate, in front of him. From the back of the camera, the overtop designs tailgate, you've got Richards Doucette pounded on his back door. They're 2 by 2, working their way down the Alabama Gate super straightaway. When do you make your move? When does your teammate, Samuel, become your foe? That's the question. As right now, they're getting antsy. Richards makes a move on the outside, going to 3.
Almost saw some deja vu at the end of stage 1 where Chris Cinnamon just hits the wrong bump, but that time it was Ted Wade. They got shuffled below the yellow for a quick moment. But now is go time. If you're that of Joey Doucette, you're hoping to get a little bit more help on that outer lane. You want to be ahead, or at least side by side with the 3. You don't want to be just stuck here with Ted Wade, but that's where he's been trapped. Has not even been able to stay side by side with Chris Cinnamon. Wade and the pushing abilities to keep Cinnamon ahead has been the power game. 2 laps to go. Chris Cinnamon's looking good for now.
That top line has just not been able to get organized. They were running nose to tail, 4 saw them. They were trying to pull up, and then they broke up with the 11 abandoning it. They've got Zach Hardwick back there. He's 1 lap down, running 14th, and he's not contributed to it. So, you know, if you're these top 2, Wesley, on the inside lane, you got to like what you see out the rearview mirror. These guys just not getting organized on the outside.
Turbulence, just sheer turbulence. You ever heard of that cliche, jet fighters inside of a gymnasium? These are jet fighters inside of a hurricane, battling side by side. 1 wrong slip, 1 wrong move, somebody's crashing. Cinnamon, Doucette, Wade, they come to the line, Samuel Dyer, the steering one to go, and they crash out of turn 4, coming to the white flag.
White flag is now going to be out. It's your CRN1 to go, and because it's a white flag, gloves are off. It doesn't matter. No yellow flag will be thrown. That's 3 drivers. It's Ted Wade, that of Robert Richards, Dana Shepard. Shepard with the run. Here they come, Kevin.
Shepard trying to pick up the draft. If these 2 get side by side, it could really pull them right into a 3-truck battle. Here comes Richards to the bottom. He's got the run out of turn number 3. Wade looking to see if he can side draft him back. Shepard with momentum to the outside.
Wade's lost his friend. Richards now powers to the lead. Teammate is gone. Wade under attack by Richards. He's working through turn 4 to the tribal. He's going to pull an upset here at Talladega.
Robert Richards, but it's not over yet. Down below the double yellow, forcing down the 48. He gets spun. Dana Shepard, here he comes across the line. Ted Wade with the win.
I have no words for that.
What a comeback. That's all I can say, Samuel. What a comeback there. His teammate was lost. Cinnamon was wrecked. He had to do it on his own. We thought Richards got him, and he fought back to get the checkered flag.
Robert Richards never had to go below the double yellow. He just had to hold the yellow line. For some reason, in his brain, it clicked. I have to block the apron. And because of that move, he put himself right where Ted Wade's front bumper was, gets spun around as Ted Wade needs to get back up on the racing surface. And Robert Richards costing himself this win and gifting it to Ted Wade. But Dana Shepard so close, 7,000ths of a second was the 43, almost able to get across the line there, but it's the teammates, and Ted Wade with the win. It's gonna be under obviously unofficial, but until it's official, we can say Ted Wade, if this win lands, he is locked to the next round.
Oh, and by the way, those are teammates. Those are teammates, Keith Bradley and Wade, over the top designs. Kevin, I love Daytona and Talladega, and this is the reason why right here. This is just storytelling at its finest. You never know what it's going to end up to be. Cinnamon got wrecked on the last lap, coming to those CRN1 to go, hung out to dry, and Wade had to do it on his own, and he did that just, and obviously props to Richards, because he did all he could. He even got wrecked at the end, and he still finished third.
I just want to come back to Dana Shepard. The Jimmy Strong Chevrolet was to the outside, and he lost that maybe by inches. And did he lose it? Is he going to point at the officials and say, look over there at that yellow line and see what happened, right? No passes below the yellow line. Contact was made. We see Wade doing burnouts, but if I'm the Shepard truck, I might be making some phone calls here today.
But Samuel, would you say it's the white flag, all bets are off, you got to do what you got to do to win the race? Do you think that's something the NASRA officials will also say as well?
I mean, it's the yellow line rule. I would say for sure it's there, but Robert Richards put himself in danger. He went below the double yellow as well to try to block the 2, which put himself in a position to be bumped and spun. If he had just held his line on the racing surface, he would have won this race for Robert Richards. Puts himself in danger. Ted Wade gets the move that wrecks him, but obviously Dana Shepard's going to be over the radio. Robert Richards is going to be absolutely fuming, but this is going to be a wild one as we take a look at our unofficial racing results. They're going to be a little bit skewed because of Robert Richards. The way that he wrecked, he went into pit road, was given an unsafe pit entry, which gave him a DQ, which bumped him back to 13th. So unofficially, he should be up in third is Robert Richards, but the way iRacing is, that's why we say it's unofficial racing results. He's not in the top 10 for now. But with the win unofficially, it's Ted Wade with Dana Shepard, Chris Cinnamon, Ed Osborne, Stephen Thomas, that of Devin Painter, Justin Lumpkin, Taylor Peacock, Joey Doucette, and that of Brandon Bullock going to be your top 10 here this evening.
11th place finish for Cody Knott. Derek Kilgore comes in 12th. Robert Richards, again, we'll see the changing order. He's probably going to be scored in third. Zach Hartwick scored 14th, 15th for Huck Wigington in the 00. Rest of these drivers having problems. Blake Lothian 16th, 17th for Newberg Morris, 18th, 19th. Jose Luis Rivera, and it'll be Jacob Klinkhardt credited with 20th position tonight.
And last of these results going to be that of Keith Bradley, Tyler Dittmer, Michael McKinnon, Adam Cantwell, and Trey Pitts, all drivers involved with the end of Stage 1 and end of Stage 2 incidences, and we're not able to finish out tonight's race. Get unofficial racing results at race admins, race control. They're going to have a long time looking at this, especially with the wreck that came to the white flag, and then the finale of seeing that of Robert Richards tossed to the side and Ted Wade winning by 7,000ths of a second. Well, for us up in the booth, we're going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, it's the post-race show here for the Triple M Pulling 200. We'll get to see who are the top 3. Race admins will let us know here tonight. But a great finish here for that second race of 3. We'll be back in just a few.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Triple M Truck Series at Talladega. This one in the books, and we're going to take a minute and step in to talk to our top three finishers. We'll start with third place finisher Robert Richards. Robert, sideways across the line, so close to the win. How about that event finish? That was just an amazing thing for us to watch. How was it for you?
A little unfortunate, honestly. A little so close, but you know, I that's why I don't agree with the below the yellow line on the last lap. I just don't think it's a thing that needs to be there, in my opinion.
Obviously, I can hear the frustration in your voice, Robert. What would you say about the take of the race, and did you feel like everything was leading up to a climax of turning out to be what it was? And, you know, I see you're not a fan of below the yellow line, but if the shoe was on the other foot and you had a chance to win the race and you're Ted Wade, would you try to do what you got to do to hold somebody off trying to block you below a yellow line?
Honestly, man, I mean, really, Ted didn't do nothing wrong. It's in the rule book that you can do it, so he used it to his advantage. It's nothing that he did wrong. He knows the rule book. It's in the rule book that you can do it, so he used it, and it worked out for him. I mean, it's there, so yeah, I probably would use it myself, but I believe it should be taken out completely. You know?
Yeah, Robert, we could sense the frustration, but still a top three finish in such a strong field of drivers here at the NASRA Truck Series has to be some sense of consolation, some sense of accomplishment. And, you know, Talladega, we'll go get him again next week at Kansas. Tell us who helps you get the job done here with the number 48.
Honestly, man, everybody we only had a few guys that might show up for mission one, so after getting in there with Keith there, which I hated did, we jumped down there with them, and we all came up with a strategy there, and we knew that we were the three that probably didn't have the most damage out of everybody else, so we all stuck together, and I want to thank them guys, you know, Ed, Chris Cinnamon, Brady for putting on the league, you guys for broadcasting stuff. I feel like the race overall could have been better. There's a lot of aggression going on that didn't really need to be done there at the beginning. We could have had more people contending, and probably made the race a little bit more exciting. But you know, we'll go on the next week and hopefully try to make ourselves to the round of 8.
Yeah, good run here tonight, Robert, and we'll look forward to seeing you get a good shot at the win next week when we roll into Kansas. We'll turn now to our second place finisher, Dana Shepard. Unfortunately unable to get him connected in here, so we can go to Buck Kicker victory lane. And, well, Ted Wade, you crossed the line in just a skosh ahead of Dana Shepard after the contact with the 48. It's got to feel good to come out of a restrictor plate race with the victory here tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I felt bad for Chris Cinnamon there. We're just trying to push. I wasn't even trying to pass him. I know points-wise, I was in for the finish there, and Robbie was pushing us. We're all pushing hard, and glad I came away with it, but definitely not how we wanted to finish it. I definitely did not want to wreck Robbie. I was trying to just get up underneath of him there at the end. Sucks for everybody there, but definitely I know the yellow line rule is not for everybody, but they don't have it in the book for the final lap. Anything goes. So I was going for it.
I kind of felt the same way, Ted. It was all bets are off when that CRN 1 to go waved over the field. And your teammate, Cinnamon, even though he came back and able to salvage a top 5, top 10 finish, he about got turned in the pack. And pretty much your teammate, your sidekick on the racetrack all night long, left hung out to dry, and then you had to fend off everybody else coming at you. Describe what that was like, coming to the white flag and knowing that he wasn't there, and it was basically every man for himself, and the teammate's gone, and you had to do what you had to do to win the race.
Oh, it was crazy. You know, I got a little bit of front end damage out of that, and it slowed me up, and then I knew Robbie had damage, and I tried to let him around me, and then about regretted that. I didn't think I was going to be able to get back past him. And Dana, I thought he won the race. I thought I finished second. I honestly did not think I won that.
Well, Ted, you're standing down here in Buck Kicker victory lane, and it's number 3 on the season for you. You lock yourself into the next round. And, you know, we were talking about, you guys had a bullet on the back of your trucks tonight. Everybody was looking at that team trying to see what they could do to break it out, and yet somehow you came away with the win. That's got to be gratifying going into next week.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, it seems like everybody's getting upset with us because, you know, we're teammates. We work together really good. Some of these guys don't tend to work very well with each other, and we stick together no matter what and try to do what's better for the team and get up front and try to just win a race.
Yeah, so Ted, time to do some shout outs. Let us know who gets the job done for the number 2 truck over there.
Oh man, John Hedrick, he is the man over at Over the Top Designs. He got us slicked up with some good paint schemes this week. A Bruzy Racewear, Racer Apparel, all of them places like that. They all do us really good. NASRA, Triple M Pulling. And shout out to old Mike McKinnon too. He's helped us out a lot along the way. Just everybody over here at LSRTV, man, everything's been great.
Yeah, go celebrate, enjoy the thing. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the win, and you know, go over and talk to your teammates, replay all that. You guys did a heck of a job here tonight, and congratulations on win number 3 of the season.
Thanks guys, have a good one.
So Wesley, Sam had to step out, had a commitment that he had to run to, so you and I get to close up shop. We get week number 16 in the books. Ted Wade has showed to be the dominant driver this season, and getting a victory this late has to signal to the rest of these guys in the truck series that he's going to try and take this championship all the way to the finish.
Yeah, and of course, you know, he's got his teammate Keith Bradley right there with him. And, you know, Over the Top Designs is going to be somebody you got to watch down the stretch. They've done what they needed to do the last 2 playoff races to put themselves in a run to the Elite 8, the race towards that championship of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. It comes down to Kansas next week and those final races remaining. It's going to be who can survive and who can be able to stay up on top and not make those mistakes. All the things we talked about to those keys to victory. That's the reason why at the end of the night, Wade is the man winning here at Talladega. It was fun. It was exciting. Always fun working with you, Kevin, Samuel Dyer as well. I'm looking forward to the Majors Garage Major Series Indianapolis 500 on Sunday evening with him on the American Sportsman side. And, of course, thanks for having me, NASRA. I love the NASRA series. It's so good to see where they've gone and come in the last 2 or 3 years. And another good show tonight, man. I have to say I agree with Robert Richards where he said that there was a lot of trucks that got tore up in the beginning of the race. I think that was a little bit unnecessary. But in the end, it was still one awesome finish for the checkered flag.
Yeah, no doubt. When you have the truck side by side, and you can't really tell who won until you go back and look at it. That's the way you want to check the box for the finish of this. Week 17 on tap, Kansas, and then we eliminate it down to 8 drivers. Week number 18, Richmond Raceway. Then we finish up at Darlington Raceway for the round of 8, and 4 drivers will head into Homestead, Miami, week 20 on June 10th for our finale here at the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And we hope you enjoyed the show here tonight at Talladega. For Sam Dyer, for Wesley Outland, and for myself, Kevin England, and giving a nod to the guy who brought you all the imagery, Charles Wooten, I got to say thanks